Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio Chapter 1. Blue Silver Grass, Black Iron Scythe Saint Spirit Village. Just as everyone might expect, this is the very village where Tang San resides. And today is the day of the annual Spirit Awakening. Currently, inside the Spirit Hall's village office at the center of the village, which was actually just an ordinary little wooden shack. The famous blind god king, Su Yuntao, was helping the children of Saint Spirit Village awaken their spirits. Su Yuntao, dressed in white athletic attire and already transformed into a werewolf form with one white and one yellow spirit ring rising beneath his feet, called out to the 6-year-old children before him to step into the awakening formation formed by awakening stones one by one. Under Su Yuntao's guidance, the children of Saint Spirit Village awakened their spirits one after another. Some awakened vegetable spirits, others awakened tool spirits. However, without exception, after being specifically tested by Su Yuntao, none of these children who had awakened their spirits possessed any spirit power. On the Douluo Continent, even with only half a rank of spirit power, one could rely on daily meditative cultivation to gradually increase their spirit power. Upon reaching rank 10, by hunting any spirit beast and absorbing the spirit ring it produced, one could become a respected spirit master. But without spirit power, it was all over. No spirit power meant remaining an ordinary person for a lifetime, with no hope of changing one's fate. As the spirit awakenings continued, a hint of fatigue appeared on Su Yuntao's face. Looking at the last 2 remaining children, he immediately beckoned the thin, ordinary-looking one to enter the awakening formation. This thin, small, and ordinary-looking child was, naturally, the original protagonist of the Douluo Continent, Tang San. Tang San stepped into the awakening formation and, under Su Yuntao's guidance, successfully awakened his spirit, a deep blue, delicate-looking little grass. Looking at this little grass spirit, a clear look of disappointment appeared on Su Yuntao's face. Blue silver grass, a trash spirit. This blind god king performed as consistently as ever. Tang San's blue-silver emperor was mistaken by him for blue-silver grass. Of course, he couldn't be blamed, as a white-clothed deacon's knowledge was limited. Next, Su Yuntao followed the routine and tested Tang San's spirit power. Tang San placed his hand on the crystal ball, which suddenly erupted with brilliant light, revealing Tang San's innate full spirit power. Su Yuntao's eyes widened in shock, his face filled with disbelief, before he spoke with a sense of immense pity. Innate full spirit power. It's actually innate full spirit power. Child, what a shame. You have innate full spirit power, but unfortunately, your spirit is just blue-silver grass. The standard trash spirit has no attack or defense capabilities. It really has no future. Here, this is your spirit certificate. Go wait to the side. After I awaken the spirit for the last child, you all can leave. Unlike the other children, Tang San didn't show any sign of disappointment. He took the spirit certificate and calmly walked to the side to wait. At this moment, Su Yuntao looked at the last child, his eyes sparkling with anticipation and a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. He said warmly, "Child, step into the awakening formation. I will awaken your spirit for you. Looking at your tall and sturdy build, you'll surely awaken a powerful beast spirit." The protagonist, of course, makes his appearance last. Hearing Su Yuntao's call, the final child strode into the awakening formation. This child's name was Chen, while other 6-year-olds were at most 2 meters tall. He stood at a full 1.6 meters. Beneath his thin clothes, the outlines of his muscles were extremely distinct. This was definitely a case of extraordinary natural talent, so even Su Yuntao was full of expectations for him. A look of anticipation also surfaced on Chen's youthful face. Spirit awakening. This was undoubtedly the most exciting moment. Seeing Chen enter the array, Su Yuntao extended a wolf claw and placed it on the awakening formation, pouring his own spirit power into it. In an instant, the awakening formation burst into light, and the radiance surged into Chen's body, causing a certain power within him to begin awakening. Chen thought with surprise and joy, "I can feel the power surging up." Is that my spirit? Time ticked away bit by bit. 1 minute. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Soon, 3 minutes had passed. Although the aura around Lu Chen grew stronger and stronger, his spirit was slow to appear. Su Yuntao's face turned pale. He felt the spirit power in his body being completely drained. Oh no, this spirit is too powerful. My spirit power is being sucked dry, he cried out in alarm. As his spirit power was exhausted, his spirit returned to his body. Then, Su Yuntao's legs gave way. He stumbled back several steps before finally collapsing onto the floor. His face was full of frustration. If the awakening failed because of this and a good prospect was ruined, the loss would be too great. However, Lu Chen's spirit awakening did not fail. The process was still continuing. Su Yuntao had already helped him break through the initial barrier. The rest of the spirit awakening process was being driven by Lu Chen's own spirit power. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A strong sense of pressure emanated from Lu Chen's body, enveloping the entire room. At this moment, everyone's attention was fixed on him. Lu Chen felt the power surging from within him. There were actually two types, one relatively soft and the other quite sharp. This made his heart skip a beat. Could he have twin spirits? He subtly clenched his right hand into a fist, then raised his left hand, completely releasing the power that was about to burst forth from within. In the next instant, a deep blue little grass, brimming with the breath of life, grew out from his palm. Seeing this little grass, Su Yuntao's composure shattered, and all his expectations vanished into thin air. He screamed in disbelief. How is this possible? It drained all my spirit power, yet it only awakened a trash spirit, blue-silver grass. Looking at the blue-silver grass in his left palm, Lu Chen didn't feel disappointed. Instead, he thought, so my first spirit is blue-silver grass. Then the second martial soul in my body should be the black iron scythe. Lu Chen was a transmigrator. In this life, his mother's spirit was blue-silver grass, and his father's spirit was a black iron scythe. Both were the most ordinary of spirits, and his parents didn't have even a shred of spirit power. Actually, before the spirit awakening, Lu Chen had already anticipated that his awakened spirit would either be blue-silver grass or a black iron scythe. Now, he had awakened both simultaneously. If nothing went wrong, this was all thanks to his golden finger. Since birth, he had discovered that with every breath, he could absorb the energy of heaven and earth into his body, turning it into streams of warm current that nourished him. He owed his current strong physique to this golden finger of getting stronger through breathing. It seemed those warm currents hadn't just nourished his body, but his spirits as well. That was why two of the most ordinary spirits had actually awakened at the same time. Chapter 2. Strength to drag a bull. After successfully awakening his spirit, Lu Chen thought the word return in his mind, and the blue-tinted blue-silver grass in his palm was withdrawn back into his body. Next, Lu Chen stepped out of the awakening formation, came before Su Yuntao, blinked, and said, "Grandmaster Su Yuntao, it's time to test my spirit power." Su Yuntao's face was full of disappointment, and he responded weakly. Draining all of his spirit power had only resulted in the awakening of a trash spirit like blue-silver grass. His heart was currently in a state of collapse. Raising the crystal ball like a matter of routine, Su Yuntao held it before Lu Chen and said with utter helplessness, "Place your hand on it." Lu Chen followed the instruction and placed his hand on the crystal ball. Instantly, a suction force emanated from the crystal ball, drawing a portion of the spirit power from his body into it. In an instant, the crystal ball burst with light, causing the group of children to stare wide-eyed, and even Su Yuntao was left dumbfounded. Another innate full spirit power. Su Yuntao's composure truly broke. What kind of situation was this? A trash spirit like blue-silver grass could actually produce innate full spirit power, and both blue-silver grass martial soul possessors were actually innate full spirit power. One must know that he possessed the dignified lone wolf spirit, yet after his own spirit awakening, his tested spirit power was only at the second rank. Heaven is unfair. Su Yuntao shouted inwardly with grief and indignation. At this moment, Lu Chen felt incredibly fortunate in his heart. Fortunately, The natural laws of this Douluo Continent dictate that before obtaining a corresponding spirit ring, even if I possess rank 30, rank 40, or even higher spirit power, it will only manifest as rank 10 before I absorb my first spirit ring. This is for the best. If I were actually measured at innate rank 30, or even rank 40 spirit power, those higher-ups in Spirit Hall would probably drag me off for dissection and research. Chen's belief that he possessed rank 30 or even rank 40 spirit power was not wishful thinking, but a conclusion he had reached through careful deduction. His current physical fitness was extremely powerful. In a fight, 4 or 5 adults would be no match for him. When plowing the fields, even the efficiency of the old yellow bull at home could not compare to his. Without the support of an extremely massive amount of spirit power, it would be impossible for him to develop such a powerful physique at the age of 6. His golden finger allowed him to absorb heaven and earth energy just by breathing. From his birth until now, a total of 6 years had passed. Chen breathed every single moment, which was equivalent to cultivating every single moment, and he had been cultivating for a full 6 years. Tang San claimed to have cultivated the mysterious heaven skill since childhood, but he couldn't possibly be cultivating every single moment. On average, being able to cultivate for 4 hours a day was already the limit. Compared to Tang San, Chen's daily cultivation time was more than 6 times longer. If Tang San had rank 13 spirit power after 6 years, then his own estimate of rank 30 or 40 after 6 years was already a conservative one. At the same time, Tang San, standing among the group of children, looked at Chen with eyes full of shock. Deep in his gaze, a hint of envy and jealousy emerged that even he hadn't noticed. Is this a true genius? I know my own situation. My innate full spirit power was cultivated through the mysterious heaven skill. Chen, however, doesn't have the mysterious heaven skill. Chen possesses innate divine force. I once saw him grab an old yellow bull that was eating crops in the field by the tail and drag it dozens of steps. That old bull had no power to resist at all. I'm so envious. Even with the enhancement of the mysterious heaven skill I've cultivated, I don't have such terrifying strength. On Su Yuntao's side, after finishing the test of Chen's spirit power, he quickly handwrote a spirit certificate and handed it into Chen's hand. Child, take this. This is your spirit certificate. Sigh. Such a strong body and the talent of innate full spirit power, yet it's not a beast spirit but the trash spirit blue-silver grass. It's truly a pity. While speaking, Su Yuntao packed up his belongings and strode out of the wooden house. Outside the wooden house. Seeing Su Yuntao come out, village head Old Jack stepped forward with a face full of smiles and spoke in a respectful tone. Lord Spirit Master, how are the children of our Saint Spirit village who awakened their spirits this year? Su Yuntao shook his head and replied with a face full of helplessness. 2 children have excellent talent, both with innate full spirit power, but their spirits are both the trash spirit blue-silver grass. What kind of future can such garbage spirits have? Even if they absorb spirit rings to become a spirit master, they will be the most garbage of spirit masters. After speaking, Su Yuntao headed toward the next village without looking back. Meanwhile, Old Jack stood dazed on the spot, unable to recover for a long time. 2 children had the best talent, yet they possessed the most garbage spirits. This gave Old Jack the urge to cough up blood. Soon, all the children walked out of the wooden house, with Chen and Tang San walking at the very back. Old Jack looked at Chen and Tang San at the back. His heart stirred and he hurriedly asked, Little Chen, Little San, the Lord Spirit Master just said that 2 children have excellent talent, but both awakened the most garbage blue-silver grass spirit. He wasn't talking about you 2, was he? Chen glanced at Tang San and replied, Grandpa Village Head, he was talking about us. Tang San followed with a nod after Chen finished speaking. Old Jack felt his vision go dark, once again feeling the urge to cough up blood. The 2 children he favored most had indeed lived up to expectations by having excellent talent, yet they hadn't awakened good spirits. Old Jack beat his chest and stamped his feet for a while. Only after a good long moment did he frown and say with a face full of distress, "Little Chen, little San, you both possess the talent to become spirit masters. Even the most garbage blue-silver grass spirit master is still a spirit master, something us ordinary people cannot compare to. Unfortunately, our Saint Spirit village has only one quota for a work-study student. Between the two of you, only one can use this work-study student quota. Come with me. I will discuss it with your parents. We'll all draw lots together to see who gets to use this work-study student quota. As for the other person, we'll think of other ways. If it really comes down to it, I'll swallow my pride and ask other villages if they have any vacant work-study student quotas." Old Jack's voice was firm. He was determined to support Lu Chen and Tang San's development. Even being the most garbage blue-silver grass spirit master was better than remaining in the village as an ordinary person. In the time that followed, Old Jack, Tang San, Lu Chen, and Lu Chen's parents went to Tang San's home together. Lu Chen had both parents, and although they were the most ordinary of farmers, his parents were not like that drunkard Tang Hao. Lu Chen's parents had accompanied him to participate in the spirit awakening. As for that drunkard Tang Hao, after getting drunk, he was probably still at home snoring away, so the group could only go to his house to discuss. Chapter 3. The struggle for the quota at Tang San's house. Even in broad daylight, bursts of snoring could be heard. Hearing the sound, Old Jack was fuming with rage. On such an important day as the spirit awakening, Tang Hao could actually still sleep. He raised his palm and pounded on the wooden door of Tang San's house with a series of bangs, shouting angrily while knocking. Tang Hao, get out here right now." After a good while, the snoring coming from the room stopped abruptly. Then came a series of heavy footsteps. The sound drew closer until, with a creak, the wooden door was opened. A tall man stood behind the door. He was sloppily dressed in patched clothes. His hair was as messy as a bird's nest, and beneath that nest was a rugged face covered in stubble. He spoke irritably. "Old Jack, what's with all the knocking? You're about to smash the door." "I need to sleep in the morning. If you want farm tools made, come back in the afternoon." This tall man was Tang San's father, Tang Hao. Though he dressed unkemptly, his powerful physique still gave off a massive sense of impact. In front of him, most people would find their aura weakening. However, as the village chief, Old Jack maintained his full aura even in front of Tang Hao. Old Jack's eyes widened as he looked at the unmotivated Tang Hao. He was so angry his beard trembled as he scolded him grumpily. "Tang Hao, how can you sleep? Do you know what day it is today?" "Today is the annual Spirit Awakening Day. For the children of the village, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance to change their fate. If they can awaken a powerful spirit and become a noble spirit master, they can leave this village." Hearing Old Jack's words, Tang Hao reached out a broad palm and scratched his head nonchalantly, his tone carrying a hint of mockery. "Spirit Master, heh. Spirit Master, is that so impressive? It's not as practical as a good drink. Little San, what are you still doing outside? Hurry back and cook for me." As a successor of feudal values, Tang San was submissive toward figures like monarchs and fathers. Hearing Tang Hao's command, Tang San obediently went back to cook. This was simply Tang San's personality. When facing his father or a ruler, he never dared to show any resistance from beginning to end. Later, when he became a god king and a father himself, he would manipulate his subordinates and children at will, completely disregarding the thoughts of others. Only Old Jack was hopping mad at Tang Hao. Their village was named Saint Spirit Village precisely because a spirit saint had once come from it, which was Old Jack's pride. Old Jack dreamed of another spirit saint emerging from the village. Hearing Tang Hao belittle spirit masters like this made him furious. Old Jack had already given up hope on a piece of rotten wood like Tang Hao, but for Tang San, he was still willing to provide an opportunity. Old Jack glared at Tang Hao, his spit flying as he spoke. "Tang Hao, you can be a drunkard for the rest of your life, but Little San is still young. He can't become a drunkard like you." Little San and Little Chen from the village, even though they only awakened blue-silver grass, even the spirit master in charge of the awakening said their talent is excellent. Both have innate full spirit power. The village has one work-study student quota. I've decided to have little San and little Chen draw lots to see who gets to use it. A strange light flashed in Tang Hao's eyes upon hearing this, but he quickly returned to his nonchalant attitude. Blue silver grass is a trash spirit. Even pigs would reject it if you fed it to them. So what if it's innate, full spirit power? You can give that work-study student quota to whoever you want, we don't care for it. Besides, little San still has to cook for me. If he goes to school, there'll be no one to cook for me in the future. After saying that, Tang Hao slammed the door shut with a bang, ignoring old Jack completely. Even though old Jack was fuming, there was nothing he could do. After all, Tang Hao was Tang San's father. He couldn't make decisions for Tang San in Tang Hao's place. As a result, there was no longer a need to draw lots for the work-study student quota. Old Jack turned around to look at Lu Chen's family of 3. His face still carried some anger, but his tone had softened compared to before. Little Chen, since Tang Hao doesn't care for the work-study student quota, then our village's quota belongs to you. Go back and prepare well. When Nuoding Academy in Nuoding City starts its term, I will personally take you to school. After old Jack gave the work-study student quota to Lu Chen's father, Luan, and his mother, Rose, both looked extremely happy. Their son was going to make something of himself. Even if he was just a blue-silver grass spirit master, he would still be a noble spirit master and would no longer be an ordinary person in the village. With a smile on his face, Lu Chen thought playfully to himself, does this count as me snatching Tang San's luck? If Tang San can't go to Nuoding Academy, he'll just be an ordinary person in the village from now on. This development is quite interesting. After the quota's ownership was settled, old Jack and Lu Chen's family of 3 left together. But before they could get far, with a creak, the door to Tang San's house opened again. Tang Hao led Tang San out, and the father and son duo caught up with them in great strides. Old Jack and Lu Chen's family all turned back in confusion. After catching up, Tang Hao's eyes were wide like bronze bells as he spoke in a rugged voice. Old Jack, you said the Saint Spirit Village's work-study student quota would be decided by drawing lots, right? I agree to it. Old Jack frowned and scolded him loudly. Tang Hao, what kind of madness is this now? You were the one who didn't care for the quota just now. Now that I've already given the quota to little Chen, you come asking for it. I'm telling you, it's too late. The quota had already been given to someone else. Tang Hao's brow furrowed immediately. Earlier, he thought Tang San had only awakened the trash spirit blue-silver grass, so he was disinterested and didn't care for the quota. Now he knew that Tang San had also awakened his clear sky hammer, twin spirits, and innate full spirit power. This gave Tang Hao hope for revenge, so naturally, he wanted to fight for the work-study student quota. Thinking of this, Tang Hao turned to look at Lu Chen's family. His eyes glared, and a fierce, violent aura suddenly swept out. Luan and Rose were just ordinary farmers. How could they withstand Tang Hao's aura? Their bodies went limp and they collapsed to the ground. Even though Lu Chen's body was stronger and he could barely remain standing, his consciousness went blank for a moment, and his thoughts seemed to freeze. After all, the opponent was the clear sky Douluo, holder of the slaughter god domain. Bullying Lu Chen's family of ordinary people was simply too easy. After intimidating Lu Chen's family, Tang Hao spoke in a flat tone. Old Jack, since they haven't said anything, you should reconsider the ownership of this work-study student quota. Chapter 4, Suppressed Rage. Tang Hao, you. Old Jack was so angry that he began to stutter. Tang Hao hadn't cared for the work-study student slot just a moment ago, but now he was forcibly seizing it. He changed his mind in an instant and wouldn't allow anyone to refuse. He was unreasonably overbearing. This made old Jack fly into a rage. He was also stubborn by nature. At this moment, he stiffened his neck, refusing to give the slot to Tang San no matter what. Seeing this, Tang Hao's brow furrowed even deeper. This old Jack was being a bit too tactless. Given his status, asking for a work-study student slot was a complete honor for the other party. In the past, he would never have even spared a glance for a mere work-study student slot. It was only because he was down and out now. The Clear Sky sect was living in seclusion, and he was unwilling to leave the back mountain of Saint Spirit Village. After all, Yin was hidden there. If it weren't to give Tang San a place to receive a spirit master's education, he wouldn't bother speaking such nonsense to old Jack. Wouldn't it be more comfortable to go back, drink, and sleep at this time? Chen, whose mind had been blanked by Tang Hao's aura, gradually began to recover. His consciousness cleared as he gasped for air, cold sweat continuously pouring down his forehead. In that instant just now, he had the illusion of facing death directly. Perhaps Chen's talent was transcendent, and as long as he didn't die, he would surely become a powerhouse of his generation in the future. But there was a prerequisite. He had to not die. Currently, he was still too weak. Facing Tang Hao's threat, he had no means of resistance whatsoever. He slowly turned his head and looked at his parents. Chen's father, An, was an honest farmer who had lived a dutiful life. Now he was slumped weakly on the ground, his face flushed red and veins bulging on his forehead. An felt so aggrieved. Tang Hao was here to snatch his son's work-study student slot, yet he was so frightened he couldn't even stand up. This filled him with intense shame. Chen's mother, Rose, was a warm and generous village woman who was kind to others and friendly with the neighbors, never having raised her voice or argued with anyone. When Tang Hao first arrived at St. Spirit Village with Tang San, she thought it was pitiful for a grown man to be raising an infant alone, and had given them quite a lot of food. Now, her kindness was being met with ingratitude. Rose was trembling all over, her eyes red as tears flowed down her cheeks. Her mental state seemed somewhat unstable. In Chen's heart, a flame was instantly ignited. An indescribable fury surged in his chest, rising all the way to the crown of his head, causing a violent glint to appear in his eyes, a desire to cut someone into 1,000 pieces. Right now, he was like a powder keg with a lit fuse, liable to explode at any moment. However, in the next instant, the thought of Tang Hao's terrifying strength, that cruel reality, was like a bucket of cold water poured over Chen, completely extinguishing the fuse. If he were to clash with Tang Hao, it would be no different from an egg striking a stone. He had to be calm, calm. Chen kept telling himself this in his heart, but he also made a vow within. Tang Hao, you can act tough now only because you rely on being a titled Douluo. Just you wait, 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river. With my talent for becoming stronger just by breathing, I will soon catch up to you, or even surpass you. When that time comes, I will cripple your spirit and break your legs, making you kneel before my parents to atone for what you've done today. I will cut off your son's head right in front of you and crush it under my foot until it's a bloody mess. I want you to truly feel what regret is. I'll let you live in endless regret before I finally cut you into 1,000 pieces and scatter your remains. After making his vow, Chen took a deep breath, suppressing all his emotions and fury deep into the bottom of his heart. In the end, only a carefully disguised fear remained on Chen's face. Like a normal child who had been severely frightened, Chen spoke with a trembling voice. Grandpa Village Chief, I don't want this work-study student slot anymore. Let's think of another way. After speaking, Chen turned around somewhat stiffly to help his parents. Supporting An and Rose on either side, the family of 3 left the place with staggering, pathetic steps. Old Jack looked at the retreating, despondent backs of Chen's family. He opened his mouth to say something, but his throat felt blocked, and not a single sound came out. He tried to move his legs, but he stumbled and nearly fell to the ground himself. After finally steadying himself, Old Jack looked at Tang Hao and said fiercely, "Fine, Tang Hao. Consider it my bad luck for letting you stay here back then. If you want this work-study student slot, then take it." With those words, Old Jack turned and walked away, as if staying near Tang Hao for even a moment longer would bring him misfortune. Having secured the work-study student slot, Tang San, who had been standing silently behind Tang Hao the whole time, followed Old Jack with an obedient expression. "Grandpa Village Chief, let me see you out." Looking at the obedient Tang San, Old Jack's emotions were very complicated. He had always sympathized with this precocious and sensible child, so he had always looked after him. But this time, seeing Tang San standing behind Tang Hao, watching Tang Hao bully others without saying a single word, He sighed inwardly. They really are biological father and son. No matter how well I treat him, he won't feel grateful, nor will he have the courage to stand up and say a word of justice. In the end, old Jack said in a low voice, "Little San, take care of yourself in the future." Then, old Jack strode away without looking back, hurrying to catch up with Lu Chen's family. Once old Jack was far away, Tang San returned to Tang Hao's side and said with a face full of admiration, "Thank you, father, for getting the work-study student slot for me." After coercing old Jack and Lu Chen's family to get the slot, Tang Hao immediately put the matter out of his mind. This was the confidence he had in his own strength. Tang Hao then swaggered back, saying as he walked, "Little San, go back and cook for me. I'm hungry." Tang San immediately replied obediently. Yes, the father and son walked toward their home, one behind the other. This was Tang Hao and Tang San. They were a true community of interests. For Tang San's sake, Tang Hao could recklessly bully others and snatch a work-study student slot. For Tang Hao's sake, Tang San could turn a blind eye to injustice and remain a cold bystander from beginning to end. Tang Hao, a true scoundrel who relied on his strength. Tang San, a hypocrite who appeared righteous. One could only say that these two were truly father and son. Chapter 5. Exchanging grain for a spot on a small country road. Lu Chen supported Lu An with his left hand and Rose with his right, as the family stumbled along the road home. Lu An's face was flushed red, his eyes filled with grievance and resentment. He opened his mouth and after a long while finally managed to say, "Xiao Chen, I'm truly useless." Rose's collar was already soaked with tears. After distancing herself from that malevolent god Tang Hao, her mental state gradually calmed down. With red-rimmed eyes, she said, "Now that Xiao Chen's work-study student spot has been snatched away by that accursed Tang Hao, what will Xiao Chen do in the future?" Having left that place of trouble, the fear on Lu Chen's face had long since vanished, replaced only by a deep, composed calm in his eyes. He comforted his parents, saying, "Dad, Mom, don't worry. Grandpa Village Chief will definitely help me. Let's just head back for today. Tomorrow, I'll go see Grandpa Village Chief and we'll figure something out together, like exchanging for a work-study student spot from another village." Just then, old Jack caught up with them, panting for breath. Hearing the noise, Lu Chen's family of 3 turned around to look. Old Jack caught up to them, stopped to catch his breath, and then rubbed his waist with both hands, saying with a hint of guilt, "Lu An, Rose, Xiao Chen, I've let you down. We agreed the spot would go to Xiao Chen, but now Tang Hao has snatched it away. Don't worry, I'll stand up for Xiao Chen and find a way to get him a work-study student spot. I can swallow my pride and go to the village chiefs of the neighboring villages to ask for a vacant work-study student spot. However, you'll need to prepare some compensation for them. After all, one's mouth is soft when eating others' food and one's hand is short when taking their things. With compensation, this will be much easier to handle." Hearing old Jack's words, Lu Chen's family was very happy. Lu An and Rose thought joyfully that their son still had a chance to study at a Spirit Master Academy, which meant a chance to make something of himself. In their simple worldview, as long as one could enter a Spirit Master Academy, they would emerge as a noble Spirit Master. With the status of a Spirit Master, they would completely turn their lives around. No matter where they went, they could find a well-paying job. They might even join the City Lord's Night Order, gaining noble status and city residency. For their entire family, this was a once-in-a-century opportunity. Lu An and Rose glanced at each other, seeing the joy in each other's eyes, and then Lu An spoke respectfully. "Lord Village Chief, then we'll leave everything to you. We'll weigh out 300 cattas of grain when we get back, and have Xiao Chen take it with you to the other villages." 300 cattas of grain was no small amount. That Lu Chen's family could easily produce 300 cattas was all thanks to Lu Chen. Because of Lu Chen's golden finger that made him stronger just by breathing, he developed very quickly and was born with divine force. Even at a few years old, he could work in the fields. With his muscular build, he was more efficient than the family's old ox. Thus, over the past few years, their family had a bumper harvest every year. Even after paying taxes to the city lord, the remaining grain nearly filled their warehouse. Producing 300 cattas of grain was absolutely no problem for their family. Old Jack nodded in satisfaction. With these 300 cattas of grain, he would have more confidence when speaking to the other village chiefs. Old Jack waved his hand and said with some indignation, "All right, you all go home first. You were quite frightened by that bastard Tang Hao today." "That bastard? I must have been blind back then to let that pair of ungrateful wolves stay in the village." Thinking of what had just happened, Old Jack's face was still full of anger, and he kept cursing under his breath. Hearing Old Jack mention Tang Hao, fear surfaced on the faces of Lu An and Rose. The glare Tang Hao had given them truly scared Lu An and Rose half to death. Ordinary, law-abiding people like them simply couldn't withstand the aura of a malevolent god like Tang Hao. Lu An lowered his head, and thinking of the humiliating scene earlier, he could only mumble, "All right, Lord Village Chief, we'll be going now." As they turned to leave, Chen politely bid farewell to Old Jack. "Goodbye, Grandpa Village Chief. I'll come find you first thing tomorrow morning." Looking at the sensible and polite Chen, Old Jack's mood improved significantly. He waved with a smile and said, Goodbye. Xiao Chen, you're strong, so help your parents a bit more." After saying their goodbyes, Chen supported his parents as they walked toward their home. Along the way, Chen's mood improved, and a spark of excitement danced in his eyes. His golden finger was very powerful, making his future promising. He was 100% certain to become a powerhouse of his generation. There was even the possibility of becoming a god. However, for now, as an illiterate village boy who couldn't read a single word and didn't know how to identify the types and ages of spirit beasts, he didn't dare to hunt them recklessly. Absorbing the wrong spirit ring would definitely severely diminish Chen's potential. His talent didn't lie in his spirit. His spirit truly was just the most ordinary kind. Therefore, every spirit ring Chen absorbed in the future would have to be meticulously selected to ensure that his spirit could undergo the correct evolution, from a low-rank spirit to an intermediate spirit, from an intermediate spirit to a high-rank spirit, from a high-rank spirit to a super spirit, from a super spirit to a divine rank spirit. As long as every spirit beast spirit ring he absorbed perfectly matched his spirit's attribute, then everything he envisioned would become reality. At that time, he would be able to take his revenge, Chen thought fiercely to himself. After Chen's family returned home, they immediately went to their grain warehouse and weighed out 300 cattas of grain. After discussing it among the three of them, they weighed out another 100 cattas as a thank you gift for Old Jack. Old Jack had been busy working on Chen's spot, so they couldn't fail to show some appreciation. The next day, Chen, whose strength was enough to pull an ox, easily hoisted the 400 cattas of grain onto his back and headed to Old Jack's house early in the morning. Upon seeing Old Jack, Chen moved the extra 100 cattas of grain into Old Jack's house while expressing his gratitude. Although Old Jack said there was no need for such gestures, the smile on his face grew wider and wider. He looked at Chen with eyes full of kindness, thinking to himself that this was truly a good child. After accepting the 100 cattas of grain, Old Jack wasted no time and led Chen briskly out of Saint Spirit Village. They visited all the villages surrounding Saint Spirit Village. After Old Jack's inquiries, they found that only Luobo Village still had a work-study student spot. After Chen presented the 300 cattas of grain, the village chief of Luobo Village decided on the spot to formally exchange their village's work-study student spot to Chen. Chen finally obtained the ticket to the Spirit Master Academy. Chapter 6. Nodding Academy. 3 months after Chen obtained the work-study student quota for Luobo Village, Nodding Academy in Nuoding City was about to begin its school year. After 3 months of breathing exercises, Chen's strength had grown even more. Now, carrying his luggage, he arrived at the village entrance under the farewell of An and Rose. Old Jack and a villager driving an ox cart were already waiting for them at the village entrance. He saw the family of 3 Chen, An, and Rose walking toward them. Old Jack reached out to pull Chen over, then waved to An and Rose, saying, Luan rose, leave little Chen to me. You can rest easy and head back now. I will definitely deliver little Chen safely to Nodding Academy in the city. Hearing old Jack say this, Luan and Rose were immensely grateful, repeatedly voicing their thanks before finally leaving the village entrance reluctantly, looking back with every few steps. After seeing off Luan and Rose, old Jack pulled Lu Chen onto the ox cart, followed by another long wait. It was only then that Tang San, carrying just a small bundle, arrived late. He was wearing old clothes covered in patches, and inside his small bundle were only a few more sets of the same old clothes. He was completely unlike Lu Chen, who carried a massive pack containing a soft quilt, brand new clothes, a washbasin, towels, and dozens of silver coins stuffed in by his parents. From this, it was clear that Tang Hao had completely failed in his responsibilities as a father, yet Tang San happened to be foolishly filial. He truly was a worthy successor of feudalism. Seeing Tang San again, old Jack's attitude was much colder. He didn't reach out to pull Tang San up, only speaking in a casual tone. Little San is here. Get on the cart first, we're departing immediately. Tang San, possessing a deep and calculating mind, noticed the change in old Jack's attitude. He frowned slightly before suppressing all his emotions deep within his heart. He nodded in agreement and then climbed onto the ox cart, sitting in a corner. Looking at Lu Chen's massive luggage and then at his own small bundle, Tang San lowered his head deeply, his thoughts unknown. After picking up Lu Chen and Tang San, old Jack signaled to the villager driving the cart. The villager cracked his whip, lightly striking the old ox's rump. The ox flicked its tail and pulled the cart toward Nuoding City. Nuoding City, though only a small city, was located at the border of the Heaven Dew Empire and the Star Luo Empire. Its geographical location was relatively important, with merchant caravans traveling north and south passing through, making the city quite prosperous. Nodding Academy, as an elementary spirit master academy, recruited children who had just undergone spirit awakening and possessed spirit master talent, training them for 6 years. After 6 years, as long as their spirit power reached level 10, they could hunt any spirit beast, absorb its spirit ring, and become a one-ring spirit master to graduate successfully from Nodding Academy. After graduation, whether they advanced to an intermediate spirit master academy to continue their studies or went out to find work, they would be sought after by various factions. For children from poor families, this was a golden opportunity to change their fate. After more than 2 hours of travel, old Jack and his group arrived outside Nuoding City. Old Jack had the villager wait outside the city with the ox cart, while he personally took Lu Chen and Tang San to queue for entry into Nuoding City, eventually finding his way to Nodding Academy after asking for directions. At the main gate of Nodding Academy, old Jack took out Lu Chen and Tang San's spirit certificates and work-study student certificates. With a face full of smiles, he walked toward the gatekeeper standing outside Nodding Academy and said very politely, "Young man, these are the spirit certificates and work-study student certificates for these 2 children. They are both students enrolling in Nodding Academy this year." The young gatekeeper, whose brow carried a hint of arrogance, took the spirit certificates and work-study student certificates and looked them over. He suddenly sneered, tossed the spirit certificates and work-study student certificates onto the ground, and said with a face full of mockery, "Blue silver grass martial soul, innate full spirit power, and 2 of them. Do you take me for a fool? Do you know what innate full spirit power even means? In the history of our Nodding Academy, such a genius has never appeared. I think you're just beggars and scammers trying to sneak into Nodding Academy for free food and drink. Get lost now before I'm forced to get rough." As he spoke, the gatekeeper waved his hand impatiently. Old Jack, looking pained, bent down to pick up the spirit certificates and work-study student certificates that had been thrown on the ground. He patted the dust off them as if they were precious treasures, then looked up at the gatekeeper, preparing to argue his case. However, Lu Chen, who had long expected this to happen, didn't say a word. He stepped forward, reached out a hand as strong as iron pincers and grabbed the gatekeeper's wrist, forcibly dragging him outward. As Lu Chen walked, he said, "Those spirit certificates were personally issued to us by Grandmaster Su Yuntao of Spirit Hall. If you don't believe it, I'll take you to confront him right now." The gatekeeper was completely stunned. Lu Chen's strength was terrifyingly high. By grabbing his wrist, the boy sent him stumbling, unable to even put up a fight. Seeing Lu Chen's piercing gaze, his youthful face filled with seriousness and determination, his sturdy physique with well-defined muscles, and hearing his booming voice, the gatekeeper's face turned green with fear. Is this kid really 6 years old? At this moment, the gatekeeper's mind was filled with disbelief. In the next instant, he was dragged along by Lu Chen without any power to resist. The gatekeeper realized he couldn't break free from Lu Chen's grip and immediately panicked. If they truly went to confront someone from Spirit Hall, even a single frown from the other party would surely cost him his job. So he cried out in a panic, all right, I believe you. Let go of me. You can enter Nuoding Academy. Go straight to the Academic Affairs office in the teaching building to register." Hearing this, Lu Chen let go. Caught off guard, the gatekeeper fell flat on his backside. Lu Chen ignored him, turned to take his spirit certificate and work-study student certificate from old Jack's hand, and said with a grin, "Goodbye, village chief grandpa. You don't need to walk us any further. I'm going inside Nuoding Academy to register." Old Jack glanced at the young gatekeeper with a sense of triumph. Hearing Lu Chen's words, he gave a kind exhortation. "Little Chen, after you enter Nuoding Academy, you must take good care of yourself and study hard. You'll be a noble spirit master when you come out. Grandpa is proud of you." Beside them, watching the deep bond between old Jack and Lu Chen as they played out their reluctant farewell, Tang San's forehead was covered in black lines. His heart churned with a sense of discomfort. Then Tang San approached and said in a low voice, "Village Chief Grandpa, I'm going to register as well." Hearing Tang San speak, old Jack seemed to only just notice him. He handed Tang San his spirit certificate and work-study student certificate and dismissed him casually. "Little San, go register yourself." Having dismissed Tang San, old Jack took another deep look at Lu Chen before turning and leaving with a satisfied heart. Leaving Tang San standing there alone, tightly clutching his spirit certificate and work-study student certificate. Chapter 7. Familiar faces appear one after another after bidding farewell to old Jack. Lu Chen carried his luggage and walked toward the Academic Affairs office. At that moment, a tall, thin, middle-aged man with a buzz cut and a poker face walked toward Lu Chen. This person was none other than Yu Xiaogang, known as the Grandmaster. He had once proposed the 10 great core competitive theories of the Spirit Master's world. He knew nothing about the world of truly powerful experts. He merely summarized the ancient texts written by seniors and claimed them as his own theories. He had been nearby just now and witnessed the entire farce at the entrance of Nuoding Academy. He had developed a strong interest in the tall and strong Lu Chen and wanted to study him. Walking up to Lu Chen, Yu Xiaogang forced a smile and was about to introduce himself. "Child." Having guessed his identity and knowing what he wanted to say, Lu Chen immediately spoke in a loud voice. "Hello, excuse me. I need to go to the Academic Affairs office to register." Upon hearing this, Yu Xiaogang's expression froze. The words he hadn't had time to say were completely stuck in his throat, and his already stiff face looked even more gloomy. Yu Xiaogang was someone who cared a lot about face. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given up being the second young master of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan to travel all over the continent. His strong yet fragile self-esteem wouldn't allow him to continue acting humble after being rejected. Then, with a dark face, Yu Xiaogang stepped aside to clear the path. After Yu Xiaogang made way, Lu Chen continued walking forward with a normal expression. After walking a few dozen steps, he glanced back and saw Yu Xiaogang and Tang San whispering something. This master and disciple from the original plot had, as expected, become entangled again. Lu Chen quickly looked away and strode forward nonchalantly. It was nothing more than adding Yu Xiaogang to the list of people to kill when he eventually sought revenge by killing Tang San. It just so happened that Yu Xiaogang's fallacious theories could lead Tang San completely astray. For instance, A plant spirit absorbing an animal spirit ring was quite ridiculous. It wasn't a question of whether it could be absorbed, but what was the point? A plant spirit should properly absorb plant spirit rings, which could also grant spirit beast skills and even strengthen the spirit origin. If Tang San's blue-silver grass martial soul had honestly absorbed plant spirit rings, it might have undergone a second awakening and evolved into the blue-silver emperor martial soul long ago. For the transmigrator Chen, these were familiar faces appearing one after another, but he didn't want to have too much contact with Tang San and Yu Xiaogang at all. Once he enriched his knowledge of culture and spirit beasts, he would leave this place immediately. At that time, the sky would be high for the birds to fly, and the sea would be wide for the fish to leap. Before long, Chen arrived at the academic affairs office. He took out his spirit certificate and work-study student certificate, handed them to the director of the dean's office responsible for student recruitment, and introduced himself. "Hello, teacher. I am a student registering this year. My name is Chen." The director of the dean's office and the other teachers were very surprised by Chen, this 6-year-old big guy. After carefully checking his spirit certificate and work-study student certificate, they found no issues. Although they were surprised by him, they registered him as required. The director of the dean's office said, "Chen, I've registered you. Your dormitory is room 7. You can go settle in now. Tomorrow morning is the opening ceremony and the first class. Remember not to be late." Chen smiled and expressed his thanks. "Thank you, teacher. I'll head over now." After saying that, Chen turned and left. When he reached the door, he heard the discussion of the director of the dean's office and the other teachers. What a strong child. Why isn't it a beast spirit, but rather the trash spirit blue-silver grass? What a pity, such a pity. Hearing these discussions, Chen just smiled and moved on. His 2 spirits were indeed the most ordinary spirits, but he believed that one day, his 2 spirits would be able to evolve into divine rank spirits. Then Chen strode away to find his dormitory, room 7. Nuoding Academy covered a vast area. It took Chen quite some time to find the crudely decorated room 7 in a corner of Nuoding Academy. Walking into room 7, Chen found the dormitory conditions were even worse than he had imagined. In the entire dormitory, there were no separate cubicles, and crude wooden beds were scattered haphazardly. Chen took a deep breath, gaining a profound understanding of the harsh living conditions of work-study students once again. He told himself in his heart to endure it, as it would eventually pass. Meanwhile, several boys in the dormitory who were originally scuffling together stopped their hands in unison after noticing the newcomer. They all stood in a row and surrounded him under the lead of a little fatty. Looking at the tall and strong Chen, a hint of hesitation and fear appeared on the little fatty's face, but after looking at the group of underlings around him, he gritted his teeth and stepped forward. "I haven't seen you before. Are you new this year?" Seeing these future roommates, Chen answered as if he didn't know the situation, even though he did. "My name is Chen, I'm new. Is there something you need?" Hearing this, the little fatty plucked up his courage and said, "My name is Wang Sheng, Spirit War Tiger, and I am the boss of room 7. We have a rule in room 7. Newcomers must fight the boss. Whoever wins is the new boss. Don't misunderstand. This isn't to bully anyone. It's to choose a boss strong enough to protect us. Our status as work-study students is very low, and we are often bullied in the academy. If we don't want to be bullied, we have to stick together. The boss is respected by everyone, but also has to stand at the front for everyone." Chen smiled, smiling very happily. This was a perfect excuse to openly deal with Tang San. He must seize it, so Chen agreed, "I understand. Go ahead and attack. I will go easy on you." Wang Sheng looked at himself and then at Chen. The huge difference in their sizes made him completely lack the confidence to win. Hearing that Chen would go easy on him, Wang Sheng even felt a sense of relief. He let out a loud shout to embolden himself, then clenched his fists and rushed toward Chen. Chen had the strength to pull an ox. He looked at the attacking Wang Sheng with a smile, and his hands, like iron pincers, quickly reached out. One hand gripped Wang Sheng's wrist, and the other grabbed Wang Sheng's collar. With a little force, Chen lifted Wang Sheng into the air, kindly giving him a lifting treatment. With his feet off the ground, Wang Sheng immediately panicked and shouted, "I surrender." "From now on, you are the new boss." Hearing Wang Sheng surrender, Chen gently set him down. Once his feet were back on the ground, Wang Sheng breathed a sigh of relief and approached Chen with a fawning expression. "Boss Chen, your strength is so great. You must have a powerful beast spirit." Chen smiled and said, "No, I have the blue-silver grass martial soul. My strength is great because I was born with divine force." While talking to his newly acquired underling, Chen placed his luggage on the bed, waiting for Tang San with full anticipation. Chapter 8. Isolating Tang San. Chen didn't have to wait for long. Tang San, who had already taken Yu Xiaogang as his master, walked into room 7 with a smile on his face. Looking at the environment of room 7, Tang San's smile vanished, and his expression shifted repeatedly before he finally frowned and endured it. Then, Tang San looked at Chen, who had arrived at room 7 ahead of him, his eyes filled with a hint of mockery. He really wanted to tell Chen loudly exactly what a massive opportunity he had missed. Yu Xiaogang. He was simply the most knowledgeable elder he had ever met, based solely on the innate full spirit power of his blue-silver grass martial soul. He had deduced that he possessed twin spirits. Based on this judgment alone, there was not a single teacher in this entire academy who could compare to Yu Xiaogang. Tang San felt incredibly lucky to have been able to take such a knowledgeable and talented elder as his teacher. It was truly a blessing earned over 2 lifetimes. At this moment, Tang San thought to himself, "I need to keep a low profile and not let Chen perceive teacher's wisdom as deep as the abyss." He also has the blue-silver grass martial soul and innate full spirit power. According to the knowledge teacher shared, blue-silver grass has no variability, so it is highly likely that he also has twin spirits. Now that Chen has missed his chance with teacher, if he were to learn of teacher's wisdom, he would surely be shameless enough to beg to become his disciple. Given teacher's broad heart and desire to educate the world, he might actually succeed. I absolutely cannot let that happen. In Tang San's heart, perhaps out of envy or jealousy toward Chen, he didn't want to share the teacher Yu Xiaogang with him at all. At that moment, Chen suddenly strode toward Tang San, which gave Tang San a fright. He took 2 steps back, thinking Chen could guess what he was thinking. Tang San frowned and asked vigilantly, "Chen, do you need something?" Chen stood not far in front of Tang San, his face showing a hint of eagerness. As he loosened up his limbs, he said excitedly, "Tang San, room 7 has a rule. Every newcomer has to fight the boss. Whoever wins becomes the new boss. I just defeated the previous boss, so I am the new boss now. You're the newcomer, so come and have a fight with me." After Chen finished speaking, the senior students of room 7, led by Wang Sheng, crowded around Chen, cheering for him with excited expressions. "Go, boss Chen, show this freshman what for." Tang San possessed memories of 2 lives, so he naturally had no interest in this kind of fighting. He rejected him outright, saying, "Boring, if you want to be the boss, then be the boss. I have no interest in being any boss." In truth, deep down, he was a bit afraid to fight Chen. His mysterious heaven skill still hadn't achieved a breakthrough past the first tier. In the mysterious heaven treasure record, the mysterious heaven skill is the foundation of foundations. Without deep enough cultivation, the mysterious jade hand, ghost shadow perplexing track, controlling crane catching dragon, purple demon eye, and 100 explanations of hidden weapons cannot exert their full power. Facing a guy like Chen who possessed innate divine force, Tang San truly felt a sense of dread and could only resort to life-risking methods. He adjusted the sleeve arrows beneath his sleeves. This was his current greatest trump card. If it ever came to a point where he absolutely had to use them, he wouldn't mind letting the sleeve arrows taste blood. Hearing this, the excited expression on Chen's face stiffened. If Tang San didn't agree, it wouldn't be easy for him to start a fight. Now that Tang San was at Nuoding Academy, that shameless fellow Tang Hao was surely lurking in the shadows watching. If he forcibly beat Tang San and provoked Tang Hao, that old dog might strike out recklessly, which was not something the current him could withstand. Lu Chen thought it over, and the excitement on his face faded. Since he couldn't fight, he would use words to provoke Tang San. If you're scared, just say so. Why make excuses? Wang Sheng explained to him why the work-study students stick together. Since he won't accept the rules of Room 7, we won't include him when we group up in the future. Since he couldn't beat Tang San up, Lu Chen would lead the other companions of Room 7 to isolate this guy, making sure he suffered a bit. After giving his orders, Lu Chen turned back to tidy his bed. Receiving the command, Wang Sheng walked up to Tang San with his chest out and recounted the instances of work-study students being bullied at the academy one by one. He crossed his arms and said gloatingly, "Hee, kid, Boss Lu Chen said that since you won't follow the rules of Room 7, don't expect us to stand up for you when you get bullied later. Brothers, follow me. Let's go over to Boss Lu Chen's side. From now on, no one talk to or play with this kid. Let him taste what it's like to not follow rules and be bullied." The surrounding senior students all responded in unison. Yes. Then all the senior students ran over to Lu Chen's side, leaving Tang San completely isolated. Tang San's expression darkened. This kind of isolation was effectively a form of bullying. Watching Lu Chen's side being so lively while his own side was so cold and lonely, that feeling was hard to put into words. But Tang San, believing himself to have memories of two lives, didn't want to mess around with these children anyway. He snorted coldly and thought to himself, just children playing house. With my skills, I'm more than capable of protecting myself from being bullied. It's just as well that I don't have to associate with these people. Instead of wasting time with them, I'll use it to learn real skills from teacher. The isolated Tang San could only choose a bed in a corner of Room 7, but it was then that he realized with a shock that he didn't even have a set of bedding. Thus, he could only sleep on the hard wooden boards. At this thought, the good mood Tang San had from just becoming Yu Xiaogang's disciple was completely ruined. His fists clenched tightly, clearly trying his best to suppress his emotions. After a long while, his mood finally began to settle. For now, I must continue to endure. Once I've learned real skills from teacher, and integrated the Tang sect secret arts I stole in my previous life into this spirit master system, I will surely be able to bring glory to the Tang sect's arts in this other world. When that time comes, everything I'm experiencing now will be nothing more than mere wind and frost. Just as Tang San was constantly building himself up psychologically, a crisp, tender voice came from the direction of the Room 7 door. Is this Room 7? This will be my dormitory from now on. After this voice was heard, it instantly drew the gaze of everyone in Room 7. They saw a young girl with a scorpion braid ponytail, wearing a pink top and white pants, her face as rosy as a red apple, standing prettily at the entrance of Room 7. Looking at this exquisite little girl, for some reason, Tang San's originally heavy mood began to gradually lighten. He stared at her without blinking. With his past and present lives combined, Tang San, whose mental age was nearly 40, actually felt a slight flutter in his heart. Chapter 9. The Clowns subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Another newcomer has arrived in Room 7. The older students, like Wang Sheng, immediately began egging on Lu Chen. Boss Lu Chen, another newcomer is here. Let her learn the rules of our Room 7. In truth, the only person Lu Chen wanted to teach a lesson was Tang San, but unfortunately, Tang San wasn't taking the bait. His hatred was reserved only for the father and son duo, Tang Hao and Tang San. As for this young girl, who was actually Xiao Wu, Lu Chen didn't have any particular thoughts about her. However, due to the rules of Room 7, Lu Chen still stepped forward and said indifferently, "My name is Lu Chen. My spirit is blue silver grass, and I am currently the boss of Room 7. We have a rule here. Every newcomer must fight the boss. Whoever wins becomes the new boss." As soon as Lu Chen finished speaking, before the girl could even react, Tang San immediately jumped out and said righteously, "Lu Chen, what kind of skill is it to bully a little girl? You don't know your own strength. I will never allow you to bully the weak. If it comes down to it, I'll fight you in her place." At this moment, Tang San was brimming with righteous indignation, looking like a hero from a wuxia novel saving a damsel in distress. Whenever Tang San imagined this delicate, doll-like girl being bullied by Lu Chen, he felt a sharp pain in his heart. Therefore, he stood forward fearlessly. He wanted to take the girl's place, defeat the bully Lu Chen, and restore peace to the dormitory of room 7. Seeing Tang San jump out, Lu Chen's interest was immediately piqued. He rubbed his hands together, eager to start. This was an unexpected harvest. Since Tang San wanted to fight in Xiao Wu's place, he could finally teach Tang San a lesson. He agreed without a second thought. Fine, if you're looking for a beating, I'd be more than happy to oblige. But at that moment, the young girl became unhappy. Her willow-like eyebrows shot up as she strode forward and pushed Tang San aside. Who are you? What right do you have to take my place? Did I ask you to stand up for me? Get out of the way, don't stop me from becoming the boss. Tang San was pushed aside by Xiao Wu, his eyes wide with disbelief. He was trying to help her. Even if she wasn't grateful, she shouldn't be so cold. It made him look incredibly stupid, like a complete and utter clown. After pushing Tang San away, the girl put her hands on her hips and walked up to Lu Chen. She looked up at him and said with an eager expression, "My name is Xiao Wu, Wu as in dancing. My spirit is a rabbit. Is it true that if I defeat you, I'll be the boss of room 7 from now on?" At this moment, Lu Chen was full of helplessness. Why was it so hard to get a chance to beat up Tang San? Hearing Xiao Wu's question, he nodded perfunctorily and said casually, "That's right. As long as you defeat me, you'll be the new boss of room 7. Xiao Wu's eyes sparkled. When she was in the Stardew Great Forest, she was the big sister to Da Ming and Ming. Now that she had transformed and come to the human world, for someone like Xiao Wu, who was used to being the boss, wasn't it only natural for her to become the boss of room 7? Xiao Wu's petite frame tensed up. She leaned forward with her legs bent in a pouncing stance and whispered, "Then you'd better be careful." As soon as she finished speaking, Xiao Wu's legs exerted sudden force. Her entire body leaped into the air, and using the momentum of her descent, she kicked toward Lu Chen. Because Lu Chen didn't care about winning or losing, he seemed a bit distracted. Facing Xiao Wu's kick, he reached out to grab her ankle, intending to throw her out once he caught her. Xiao Wu reacted quickly. Seeing through Lu Chen's intention, she actually managed to twist her waist in midair to change her posture. With extreme agility, she dodged Lu Chen's grasping hand, stepped onto his arm, and used the leverage to close in, flashing behind him. She placed both feet on Lu Chen's shoulders, her insteps hooking his neck. Xiao Wu's waist seemed as soft as if she had no bones, bending backward into a C-shape like a powerful bow drawn to its limit. Xiao Wu exerted her full strength and gave a soft shout, "Go down." It had to be said that Xiao Wu's offensive was very sharp, fast, flexible, and fluid. An ordinary person caught off guard would have been thrown by her at this point. Unfortunately, Lu Chen was a powerhouse capable of dragging a bull. His naturally powerful physique gave him an extremely stable lower body. He simply tightened his muscles suddenly, neutralizing the explosive force Xiao Wu used to try and throw him. Xiao Wu was completely stuck. She hadn't expected Lu Chen's strength to be so great. Because of the massive power gap, even though she used all her strength, she couldn't throw him. Lu Chen smiled calmly. This time, he quickly reached out and grabbed Xiao Wu's ankles, preparing to toss her away. Xiao Wu still wanted to be the boss of room 7. How could she possibly be willing to admit defeat? Moreover, her competitive spirit had been ignited by Lu Chen. She was determined to throw him no matter what. With her instep still tightly hooked around Lu Chen's neck, she suddenly gave a low shout, martial soul possession. In an instant, a startling transformation occurred. Xiao Wu's legs grew longer, reaching an exaggerated proportion relative to her body, filled with explosive power. Her originally black pupils turned red after the possession, and a pair of furry rabbit ears grew from the top of her head. But that wasn't the most shocking part. What was truly stunning was the bright yellow spirit ring that rose up around her body, a yellow spirit ring, a century soul ring. Seeing this scene, whether it was Tang San or Wang Sheng and the others, everyone was dumbfounded. They never imagined that this cute-looking girl was already a one-ring spirit master. Tang San had just entered the academy this year and didn't yet know exactly what a yellow spirit ring signified. He was merely shocked that Xiao Wu was already a one-ring spirit master. Wang Sheng and the others, having attended school for several years, knew perfectly well how precious a yellow spirit ring was. As they looked at Xiao Wu now, their faces were filled with envy and awe. As for Xiao Wu, her face was full of unyielding stubbornness as her yellow spirit ring suddenly flared with light. First spirit ability, waist bow. Xiao Wu's first spirit ability could increase her waist strength by 100%, allowing her to unleash even more terrifying power. Under the enhancement of waist bow, the staggering power Xiao Wu unleashed caused even Lu Chen to feel significant pressure. A hint of seriousness appeared on Lu Chen's face. He responded quickly, sinking his shoulders and elbows, spreading his legs into a horse stance, and gripping the ground firmly as if he had grown roots. Xiao Wu was stuck once again. Even after her martial soul possession, and using her first spirit ability, the total power she unleashed was still not enough to throw Lu Chen. Just how massive was Lu Chen's strength? Xiao Wu simply couldn't imagine it. Meanwhile, taking advantage of the moment Xiao Wu's explosive power reached its limit, Lu Chen exerted force with his hands on her ankles. He lifted her into the air, swinging her in circles, then side to side, then up and down, saying as he shook her, "Do you yield? Do you admit defeat?" Chapter 10. The Clown, and Encore Room 7, everyone around was dumbstruck. Ever since Xiao Wu revealed that she was a one-ring spirit master and one who possessed a century soul ring. Whether it was Tang San or Wang Sheng and the others, they all assumed Xiao Wu would definitely be able to defeat Lu Chen and achieve the final victory. But who could have imagined that Lu Chen, without even using his spirit, had lifted Xiao Wu, who had already used martial soul possession and her first spirit ability into the air and was swinging her back and forth using only his raw strength. Just watching it felt unbelievable to everyone, yet it was truly happening. People like Wang Sheng were now looking at Lu Chen with eyes full of admiration. Defeating a one-ring spirit master barehanded, Lu Chen's status in their hearts had already reached mythical proportions. As for Tang San, seeing Xiao Wu being bullied by Lu Chen filled him with immense rage, causing him to cast aside his recent experience of acting like a clown. Once again, he stepped forward without hesitation, exuding an air of righteousness. Secretly gripping the sleeve arrow hidden beneath his cuff, he sternly rebuked Lu Chen. "Lu Chen, put Xiao Wu down. You bastard who only knows how to bully the weak, fight me instead." Lu Chen's eyes lit up upon hearing this. He tossed Xiao Wu aside and looked at Tang San with ill intent, saying, "Fine, you've managed to dodge me several times, but you won't escape this time." After being tossed by Lu Chen, Xiao Wu, being a one-ring spirit master after all, twisted her body to maintain balance and landed somewhat unsteadily but safely. Although her steps were a bit staggered, she didn't fall to the ground. Seeing this, Tang San walked over with a face full of concern. A smile he considered heartwarming appeared on his face as he reached out to support Xiao Wu, comforting her. "Xiao Wu, are you all right? This Lu Chen is too despicable, only bullying newcomers. I will definitely vent your frustrations for you and take him down." However, in the next instant, Tang San's outstretched hand was slapped away mercilessly by Xiao Wu. From her eyes to her expression, she was the picture of annoyance toward Tang San as she snapped irritably, "Get lost. Can't you see this is a fight between him and me? What kind of madness has possessed you to come running over? Can you please stop bothering me?" As soon as those words were spoken, Tang San seemed to petrify. That heartwarming smile froze on his face, and he stood there motionless, like a clay statue. Tang San had played the clown once again. He could almost hear the sound of his own heart breaking. For the first time he had felt a spark of attraction. He had lost so miserably. His expression was dazed. With the right background music, it would surely become a classic, schadenfreude-inducing scene. Meanwhile, having dismissed the simp like Tang San, Xiao Wu ran toward Lu Chen with great interest. She wasn't angry about what had just happened. Instead, her eyes sparkled as she asked, Lu Chen, is your spirit really blue-silver grass? You're like a human-shaped spirit beast, or rather, a beast-to-human transformation. Otherwise, how could you have such terrifying strength without even using your spirit? Xiao Wu was full of curiosity, her eyes shining as she looked at Lu Chen. She was treating him as one of her own, thinking he was also a beast-to-human transformation, specifically, a strength-type one like a wild bull. Otherwise, how could a mere human erupt with such terrifying power? Lu Chen didn't answer Xiao Wu immediately. He looked at the simp Tang San standing not far away, who had been utterly crushed by Xiao Wu's words, and sighed. His wish to beat up Tang San had fallen through once again. Extremely disappointed, Lu Chen turned back to Xiao Wu. He could tell from her question that she considered him one of her kind, but he really wasn't. Lu Chen explained, My spirit really is just blue-silver grass. My strength is great because I was born with divine force, it's just my talent. After all, my spirit power is also innate full spirit power, so it's normal for me to be a bit special. I understand expression appeared on Xiao Wu's face. In this human society, beast-to-human transformations like them certainly couldn't expose themselves. Xiao Wu retracted her possessed spirit. She couldn't beat Lu Chen and was willing to accept her loss, so she immediately shouted, I admit defeat, Boss Lu Chen. After speaking, Xiao Wu turned to Wang Sheng and the others, placing her hands on her hips and announcing loudly, I can't beat Boss Lu Chen, but I definitely won't have any problem beating you guys. From now on, Lu Chen is the boss of Room 7, and I am the second in command. You all have to call me Sister Xiao Wu. How could Wang Sheng and the others have any objections? With the naturally divinely strong Lu Chen as their boss, and a one-ring spirit master like Xiao Wu with a century soul ring as their second in command, why would they, the work-study students, fear any bullying? They could practically walk tall and unchallenged in the academy from now on. At this thought, Wang Sheng and the others all looked excited. They puffed out their chests and shouted in high spirits, Sister Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu nodded with satisfaction, a smile on her face. She finally felt a bit of that big sister vibe she had back in the Stardew Great Forest. Just then, a teacher wearing dark green robes entered Room 7 carrying a set of bedding. He spoke in a low voice, Tang San. Is Tang San here? Hearing someone call his name, Tang San, who had been petrified for a long time, finally regained some animation in his face. He turned around and said in a very hoarse voice, Teacher, I'm here. Is there something you need? Hearing the response, the teacher looked toward Tang San, walked over, and thrust the bedding into his hands, explaining, Tang San, this is the bedding your teacher, Grandmaster Yu, asked me to bring to you. I am the teacher in charge of logistics. You can come to me for anything regarding your daily lives. The 3 work-study students who arrived today, Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Lu Chen, are required to clean a portion of the academy. You 3 will be responsible for cleaning the academy's garden. You'll get 10 bronze coins a day, which is enough for your food and drink at the academy. After making the arrangements, the teacher in dark green robes didn't stay long and soon turned to leave Room 7. Holding the soft bedding in his arms, Tang San forced a smile. In this cold academy dormitory, it seemed only his teacher could provide him with a sliver of comfort. After seeing Tang San receive his bedding, Xiao Wu looked at the others in the dormitory and noticed that everyone had their own bedding except for her, and she didn't know what to do. She whispered, Does the academy not provide bedding? Tang San's ears were very sharp, a skill he had developed through thousands of practice sessions with hidden weapons to locate sounds. Hearing Xiao Wu's words, Tang San's mind became active again. If he shared his bedding with her now, would it make her happy? Would she smile at him? Tang San's simp soul began to burn once again. Chapter 11. Tang San's hostility, however, reality was incredibly cruel. Before Tang San could even open his mouth to offer to share his bedding with Xiao Wu was already looking at Lu Chen pitifully and saying, Boss Lu Chen, you have to help me. How about we squeeze together tonight? Hearing this, Tang San's heart was completely shattered. His eyes widened instantly, staring straight at Lu Chen. If Lu Chen really dared to agree, he would risk his life against Lu Chen right now. Tang San would never allow it. The goddess in his heart must not suffer any defilement. Lu Chen noticed Tang San's gaze. If it were just Tang San, Lu Chen might have actually agreed to Xiao Wu just to spite him. But now it wasn't just Tang San. That old dog Tang Hao was watching from the shadows. From the moment Xiao Wu, this 100,000-year soft bones rabbit, appeared at Nuoding Academy, she had likely already been designated by Tang Hao as Tang San's spirit ring and spirit bone. If he had too much contact with Xiao Wu, it would likely provoke that old dog, causing him to act early and eliminate Lu Chen as a potential threat. To save his own life and allow himself a chance for revenge in the future, he could only keep a respectful distance from Xiao Wu for now. Facing that death god Tang Hao, he couldn't save Xiao Wu, at least not for now. He could only lie low and wait for the future. Lu Chen looked at Xiao Wu, a trace of pity appearing in the depths of his eyes, but it vanished without a trace in an instant. He smiled and said, "Xiao Wu, you're different from us. We are just spirit scholars without a spirit ring, but you are a one-ring spirit master. I've heard that after becoming a spirit master, as long as you register at the Spirit Hall in Nuoding City, you can receive subsidies issued by the two great empires. A one-ring spirit master can receive 1 gold coin every month. 1 gold coin is a lot of money, enough for you to buy a good set of bedding." Hearing this, Xiao Wu's eyes grew brighter and brighter. She had just come out of the Stardew Great Forest and didn't have a concrete concept of human world currency yet. But since Lu Chen said 1 gold coin was a lot of money and enough to buy a good set of bedding, it must be true. Xiao Wu said joyfully and excitedly. "Boss Lu Chen, thank you for the reminder. I'll go register at the Spirit Hall right now. Haha, I'm going to be rich." As she finished speaking, Xiao Wu rushed outside impetuously. This drew a lot of envy from Wang Sheng and the others. They also wanted to become spirit masters and receive the Spirit Hall's subsidy. However, given their spirits and talent, it was unknown how long it would take them to cultivate to rank 10 spirit power, hunt a spirit beast, and absorb a spirit ring to become a spirit master. After watching Xiao Wu leave, Lu Chen said to Wang Sheng and the others beside him, "Wang Sheng, let's go for a walk too. You guys show me around the academy and tell me about the dean and the teachers. While we're at it, let's go to the cafeteria for lunch." Hearing Lu Chen's words, Wang Sheng agreed with a face full of admiration, patting his chest as he promised. "No problem, Boss Lu Chen. I'll definitely tell you everything I know." After they finished discussing, Wang Sheng and the others crowded around Lu Chen and walked outside together. As they walked, Wang Sheng stayed closest to Lu Chen and complimented him with envy. "Boss Lu Chen, I heard you say you have innate full spirit power talent. That means as long as you absorb a spirit ring soon, you can immediately become a one-ring spirit master just like Sister Xiao Wu." Lu Chen nodded and answered calmly, "That's true, but I didn't inherit a good spirit. I only have the trash spirit, blue silver grass. Even the battle spirit master from the Spirit Hall didn't think much of it back then. If I'm going to absorb a spirit ring, I must choose carefully. After all, in my career as a spirit master, I might only ever absorb 1 spirit ring." Lu Chen's words were half true. Every spirit ring he wanted to absorb did indeed need to be carefully selected, but that was for the purpose of evolving his spirit. But with his talent for growing stronger just by breathing, his spirit power would naturally rise as time passed. There was no such thing as only being able to absorb 1 spirit ring, but hearing Lu Chen's words, Wang Sheng and the others still nodded repeatedly. Finally, Wang Sheng spoke the thoughts of everyone. Children from ordinary families like us simply can't inherit good spirits. If we can have 1 or 2 ranks of spirit power when our spirits awaken, it's already a huge blessing. In the future, even if we give it our all, we can only cultivate to the rank of Spirit Master or Spirit Grandmaster and absorb 1 or 2 spirit rings. It's true that every spirit ring needs to be chosen carefully, but most of the time, we don't have a choice. Wang Sheng and the others crowded around Lu Chen, talking as they left room 7. The large room 7 now became empty, leaving only Tang San alone. He silently placed his bedding on his bed. Then, a trace of hostility shot out from his pupils as he spat out a name through gritted teeth. Chen. Thinking of Xiao Wu's coldness toward him and her enthusiasm toward Chen, Tang San felt a pang of heartache, as if his heart were being torn apart. He used to be a very calm person until he met Xiao Wu. Tang San felt as if he had lost his soul, becoming unlike himself. He stepped forward to defend Xiao Wu time and again, even if it meant making a fool of himself. He even fawned over her just to get her to smile. Why was it like this? Tang San didn't know himself. He just felt that if he didn't have Xiao Wu, it would definitely be a major loss for him. On the other side, under the guidance of Wang Sheng and the others, Chen soon toured the entire academy. Wang Sheng gave a detailed introduction of every building in the academy. Meanwhile, Wang Sheng and the other work-study students chimed in to give Chen a detailed introduction of the academy's dean, the dean of students, and all the teachers. Naturally, this included Yu Xiaogang. Wang Sheng and the others even gossiped about Yu Xiaogang, saying he held the title of Grandmaster but didn't lead classes or teach in the academy, acting like a freeloader. Chen wasn't Tang San, and he nodded in deep agreement. There was indeed something wrong with Yu Xiaogang. Although the 10 core competencies of spirits he proposed were things that hadn't been proven. He had read many ancient texts and knew a lot of precious knowledge. If he were willing, he could completely spread it so that more spirit masters from the bottom could benefit from it. But Yu Xiaogang didn't do that. The dean of Nuoding Academy took him in probably only for the sake of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon clan's face. Otherwise, a freeloader like Yu Xiaogang, who neither led classes nor taught, would have likely been kicked out of Nuoding Academy long ago. With the detailed introductions from Wang Sheng and the others, Chen gained a comprehensive understanding of Nuoding Academy in a short amount of time. Chapter 12. Meditation Method, 1.5 times cultivation speed after a tour of the academy. It was noon. Growing boys like Chen and Wang Sheng already had stomachs growling with hunger. Thus, in groups, they swarmed into the cafeteria. The cafeteria was divided into the first and second floors. The first floor served communal meals. For just a few bronze coins, one could eat well. While the food wasn't fancy, it was enough to fill one's stomach. As for the second floor, it was no different from a restaurant outside. One could order individual dishes, with all sorts of stir-fries and stews available. It was where the academy's teachers and noble students ate. Chen, Wang Sheng, and their group were all work-study students. With empty pockets, it was naturally impossible for them to eat on the second floor, so they had the communal meals on the first floor. During the meal, a small incident occurred. A group of noble students who had finished eating on the second floor saw Wang Sheng as they came downstairs and habitually began to provoke him. Wang Sheng clenched his fists, feeling incredibly furious. Chen understood that in the face of such campus bullying, backing down was useless. One had to strike back fiercely to make the bullies feel fear. Otherwise, this kind of thing would never end. So, under Chen's direction, Wang Sheng made an appointment with the group of noble students to have a fight in the small woods on the academy's back mountain after school the next afternoon. The losers of this fight would have to steer clear of the winners whenever they encountered them in the academy from then on. Those noble students held themselves in high regard. Facing Wang Sheng's initiative to challenge them, how could they possibly refuse? They agreed without a second thought. After the challenge was set, Wang Sheng and the other work-study students looked at Chen with burning eyes, clearly placing all their hopes on him. In truth, Chen didn't want to cause trouble either, but he knew even better that if he didn't show a tough attitude, he would only face more trouble in the future, not less. After finishing lunch, all the work-study students returned to room 7. In room 7, Chen didn't see Tang San, but he did see Xiao Wu, who had returned from Spirit Hall. Xiao Wu had collected her gold coin stipend from Spirit Hall and bought a brand new set of pink bedding. At that moment, she was lying on the bed eating snacks, speaking with a charming smile. "Boss Chen, you're all back. Look, this is the brand new bedding I bought with the gold coins I got from Spirit Hall. I also bought lots of snacks. Xiao Wu showed off to everyone with great pride. Looking at Xiao Wu, Lu Chen suddenly had an idea. Xiao Wu's Century Soul Ring seemed quite capable of intimidating people. If he brought her along for the fight tomorrow, it would surely have a better effect. So, Lu Chen encouraged Xiao Wu, saying, "Xiao Wu, we just made an appointment in the cafeteria with a bunch of provocative noble students to have a fight in the woods on the back mountain after school tomorrow. You're also one of us work-study students. Do you want to come and join us tomorrow?" Hearing the words "have a fight," Xiao Wu's eyes instantly lit up. She sat up on the bed, patted her unremarkable chest, and said with immense bravado, "Of course I'll join. I'm room 7 sister Xiao Wu. How could I miss out on something like this?" Hearing this, Lu Chen smiled and flattered Xiao Wu, saying, as expected of Xiao Wu, "Then tomorrow we'll make a name for the work-study students together and let those noble students know how powerful we are." Xiao Wu couldn't handle being praised. Under Lu Chen's flattery, she put her hands on her hips and raised her small head high, her pink face full of smugness. No one can resist repeated praise. Even if Xiao Wu was 100,000-year soft-bones rabbit, she couldn't entirely escape worldly vanity. After winning Xiao Wu over, Lu Chen felt even more confident about tomorrow's fight. Defeating those noble students would certainly make them afraid, but it would also make them harbor resentment and eventually lead to endless trouble. Therefore, compared to defeating them, it was more important to intimidate them. Xiao Wu's Century Soul Ring was a precious spirit ring that even the city lord's son, Xiao Chenyu, did not possess. Although this seemed more like an original book bug, that the dignified son of a city lord's first spirit ring wasn't a Century Soul Ring, but merely a 10-year spirit ring. Tomorrow, as long as Xiao Wu showed that Century Soul Ring, it would 100% intimidate those noble students, and they wouldn't dare cause trouble again. In the time that followed, these work-study students in room 7 showed an extremely diligent side. There was no horsing around or playing. Instead, they began to meditate and cultivate their spirit power. Seeing this, Lu Chen immediately asked Wang Sheng for guidance on the meditation method for cultivating spirit power. After all, the one who knows more is the teacher. He felt no embarrassment at all. Wang Sheng didn't hold anything back either. He introduced the meditation method in great detail, along with some of his cultivation experience. After all, this kind of basic meditation method would be taught by teachers in the very first class after new students enrolled. Wang Sheng was simply teaching the meditation method to Lu Chen one day early. After being taught, Lu Chen sat on his bed. Following Wang Sheng's description, he calmed his mind, communicated with his spirit, used his spirit to sense the energy between heaven and earth, and absorbed that energy into his body. The circulation of spirit power involved several major meridians, which Wang Sheng had also introduced in detail. Lu Chen quickly mastered them. For Lu Chen, his golden finger meant that every breath could absorb heaven and earth energy into his body. However, in the past, his spirit had not reached awakening, and spirit power could not be circulated, so he could only passively absorb energy. Now that Lu Chen had successfully awakened his spirit and learned the basic meditation method, he began to actively guide the circulation of spirit power. With every breath, he continuously absorbed heaven and earth energy into his body, then actively guided this energy through several major meridians into his danshan. Lu Chen had 2 spirits in his danshan. The first spirit was blue silver grass, and the second spirit was the black iron scythe. After these 2 spirits absorbed the energy, it was purified and refined by the spirits, turning into his spirit power and settling in his danshan. At this moment, Lu Chen discovered to his surprise that his spirit power accumulation speed had increased by about 1.5 times compared to before. This made Lu Chen feel very excited. Even if I don't deliberately meditate, my spirit power will continue to rise. But if I can increase the cultivation speed by 1.5 times, it seems I can't be slack in my cultivation in the future. With this thought, Lu Chen focused all his attention and threw himself into meditation. Feeling the accelerated rate of spirit power accumulation gave him even more motivation to cultivate. This meditation lasted for an entire afternoon. It wasn't until Lu Chen's stomach growled with hunger that he was pulled back from the meditative state. Lu Chen opened his eyes and woke up, sat up from the bed, and stretched his limbs. He was very satisfied with the results of the afternoon's cultivation. He then called out to a few companions who had also woken up, and they went to the cafeteria together for dinner. By the time they returned to room 7, the sky had turned completely dark. Lu Chen and his companions in room 7 washed up and went to bed to rest. Chapter 13. Authentic teaching. The next day, at the crack of dawn, a rustling sound woke Lu Chen from his slumber. Dazed, Lu Chen opened his eyes and saw that Tang San had already gotten up and was currently dressing and folding his quilt. He was stunned for a moment before it clicked. It seems Tang San is going with his teacher, Yu Xiaogang, to the spirit-hunting forest to hunt spirit beasts and absorb his first spirit ring. Go ahead. A plant blue-silver grass martial soul absorbing a Datura snake's spirit ring. Even if it grants temporary strength, a Datura snake can never allow blue-silver grass to undergo a proper evolution. The future is long. As long as I find the opportunity to eliminate the blue-silver king of the blue-silver forest first, Tang San will never be able to awaken as the blue-silver emperor. Sooner or later, he will pay for his current mistake. With this thought, Lu Chen rolled over, pulled the quilt over his head, and drifted back into a deep sleep. In the distance, Tang San, who had already dressed and folded his quilt, glanced back toward Lu Chen. Tang San had cultivated the purple demon eye, giving him terrifying vision. Lu Chen's subtle movements just now had been fully observed by him. At this moment, his heart was filled with malicious thoughts. Lu Chen, we were once the same, possessing the same blue-silver grass martial soul and the same innate full spirit power. But now we are different. I have taken a famous master. Under his guidance, I am about to hunt a spirit beast and obtain my very own first spirit ring. As for you, without anyone to lead you, trying to obtain a suitable spirit ring will be as difficult as reaching the heavens. One step ahead, always ahead. I will surpass you bit by bit. When your divine force can no longer play a role, that will be the time I trample you under my feet. Xiao Wu, wait for me. I will definitely let you know who the most reliable person in room 7 truly is. Thinking of this, the corners of Tang San's mouth curled up into a foolish grin, as if he were immersed in some fantasy. Immediately after, Tang San shook his head vigorously, took a deep look at Xiao Wu's spot, and finally left room 7 alone without looking back. About an hour after Tang San left, the sky had fully brightened. The work-study students in room 7 began to crawl out of bed one after another. Though some were puzzled by Tang San's disappearance, no one truly cared. Under Lu Chen's interference, all the work-study students had isolated Tang San. They didn't speak or play with him, treating him entirely like a transparent person. Even Xiao Wu, though Lu Chen hadn't had much contact with her, had not ended up sleeping in the same bed as Tang San by chance as she had in the original plot. Lu Chen, the transmigrated butterfly, had begun to affect more and more things with the air currents stirred by his wings. Lu Chen put on the brand new school uniform issued by the academy, which caused his entire temperament to undergo an earth-shaking change compared to before. He was originally a village boy, but now he looked not a bit inferior to those noble youths. Because of Lu Chen's golden finger that made him stronger just by breathing, his physique was naturally tall and straight. At only 6 years old, he stood 1.6 meters tall with a body of lean muscle that looked extremely masculine and full of power. Lu Chen had thick eyebrows and large eyes. Although there was still some boyishness in his face, one could see he was quite the handsome fellow. His was not a feminine beauty. It was a masculine, steadfast, and decisive aesthetic filled with power. After changing into his uniform, the completely transformed Lu Chen went to the cafeteria to eat with Xiao Wu, Wang Sheng, and the others, then headed to the playground for the opening ceremony. The opening ceremony was nothing unusual, consisting of the principal's speech, reminiscing about the past, looking to the future, and encouraging all students to cultivate hard to reach rank 10 spirit power, absorb a spirit ring, and become a spirit master as soon as possible. After the opening ceremony ended, all students returned to their respective classes. Chen and Xiao Wu, the two first-year freshmen, were led by a teacher to the first-grade classroom. In the first lesson of the term, the teacher taught the meditation method for cultivating spirit power. Spirit power is the absolute priority for a spirit master. Even if a spirit is poor, it mostly affects a spirit master's future prospects. However, if spirit power increases slowly, it determines whether a person even has the qualification to be a spirit master. Even in an elementary spirit master academy, the standard for graduation is whether a student possesses rank 10 spirit power and has absorbed a spirit ring to become a spirit master. Therefore, the cultivation of spirit power must begin as soon as these students enter the school. The first lesson taught by the teacher was the meditation method for cultivating spirit power. Chen had learned a meditation method from Wang Sheng yesterday, but hearing the teacher explain it again today gave him many new insights. Although Wang Sheng had taught him earnestly, giving Chen everything he knew, Wang Sheng himself had only mastered at most 60% of the method. The meditation method he taught Chen was incomplete. After hearing this authentic teaching from the teacher, Chen felt he benefited greatly and gained much more insight into the meditation method. After the teacher finished the lecture, he let everyone practice freely. Chen was exceptionally gifted. He easily entered a meditative state in class. With every breath, worldly energy entered his body. Under his active guidance, the energy traveled along the major and minor meridians, eventually converging in the Danshan. It was absorbed by the two great martial souls in Chen's body, and after being purified and refined, it turned into his spirit power, settling within the Danshan. Sensing carefully, Chen was suddenly overjoyed beyond measure. After learning the complete meditation method, his own cultivation speed had actually reached twice that of his usual free-breathing state. Discovering this, Chen couldn't help but secretly criticize Wang Sheng in his heart. That guy really was a poor student. A perfectly good meditation method had its effectiveness greatly reduced after he learned it. It seemed that once he returned, he could mock that guy a bit, and while he was at it, tell him all his cultivation experience. After all, that guy hadn't kept any secrets from him. In the classroom, Chen was an exception. He entered the meditative state very easily, which might be related to his golden finger. After all, every breath he took could absorb worldly energy. As for the others, they all had their own problems. Some were lively and active, unable to quiet their hearts. Some were slow-witted and couldn't grasp the knack of it for a long time. Many students were scratching their heads, unable to enter that meditative state. The teacher on the podium shook his head helplessly at the scene. He really wanted to shout to all the students, "You are simply the worst class I have ever taught, except for Chen." The teacher on the podium looked at Chen, who had entered the meditative state early, his eyes full of praise as he nodded in satisfaction. Then he turned his head and saw Xiao Wu sleeping soundly, and he was so angry he almost pulled his own beard off. The other students couldn't enter the meditative state, but at least they were trying. Only Xiao Wu wasn't even pretending. She had simply fallen asleep in class. In fact, this wasn't Xiao Wu's fault. As a 100,000-year spirit beast in human form, her body already had a massive accumulation of energy. She didn't need to meditate at all. She only needed to blend into the human crowd and gradually absorb human aura to slowly tap into the massive energy within her body. Chapter 14. The victory of the work-study students, the last moments of the morning quietly slipped away amidst the chaotic classroom. Regarding today's teaching effectiveness, the instructor could only shake his head helplessly. Class dismissed. Go and eat. Remember to practice diligently on your own in the future. If there's anything you don't understand, come and ask me. Meditation is the only way to increase spirit power. Only by mastering the meditation method, early can you reach spirit power level 10 sooner. After the instructor finished speaking, those academic slackers who hadn't been able to enter a state of meditation throughout the entire class clearly breathed a sigh of relief. Because the instructor hadn't left yet, these students all sat obediently in their seats. Not a single student dared to leave without permission. With his hands behind his back, the instructor walked down from the podium and came to stand before Lu Chen. Looking at Lu Chen, who had exited his meditation state and opened his eyes, he spoke in a praising tone. "Child, your talent is very good. After I taught the meditation method, you were the first one to enter the meditation state so quickly. Although your talent is excellent, you must not slack off in your cultivation in the future. If you encounter any problems you don't understand, you can come find me. I will definitely answer you patiently. Cultivate well, I have high hopes for you." Hearing this, Lu Chen rose from his chair. He was not someone who lacked gratitude. The instructor's goodwill was so obvious that he naturally felt it. Facing the instructor, Lu Chen gave a deep bow and said with a look of gratitude, "Thank you, teacher. I will certainly cultivate diligently. If I have any questions in the future, I will come to ask you immediately. I hope teacher can resolve my doubts." Lu Chen's humility and eagerness to learn made the instructor increasingly satisfied with him. He patted Lu Chen's shoulder as a sign of encouragement. Before turning to leave, the teacher gave Xiao Wu a harsh glare. She was still snoring away. Finally feeling helpless, the instructor walked out of the classroom with his hands behind his back. As soon as the teacher left, the other freshmen in the classroom cast complex looks toward Lu Chen. Among them were mixtures of envy, jealousy, and even a bit of defiance and resentment. Clearly, they wished they could replace Lu Chen, the guy who was so favored by the teacher, resentment from the academic slackers toward the top student. Facing the complex gazes of these freshmen, Lu Chen was completely composed and didn't feel any discomfort. After leaving his seat, he went straight to Xiao Wu's desk. Xiao Wu was sitting by the window. Golden sunlight streamed through the pane, shining on her profile as she lay snoring on the desk. Her pinkish cheeks were flushed with health and luster, like a ripe red apple. Seeing this, Lu Chen shook his head and chuckled. No wonder the teacher had given her such a harsh glare at the end. She was truly sleeping soundly. He reached out and banged loudly on the desk, which finally woke Xiao Wu up. Awakened, Xiao Wu rubbed her bleary eyes and spoke while still somewhat dazed. "What's wrong? Is it time to eat?" Lu Chen raised an eyebrow and replied with a light smile. "Yes, class is over. Let's hurry up and eat. This afternoon, we work-study students have a fight scheduled with the noble students. Xiao Wu, as the second in command of Room 7, you are a main figure for us work-study students. Don't be late because you were sleeping." At the mention of this, Xiao Wu immediately perked up. She bounced up from her chair, waving her little fists that lacked any real intimidation. Her eyes were full of eagerness as she said excitedly, "Boss Lu Chen, don't worry, I definitely won't be late. HMPH, a bunch of little punks daring to bully us work-study students. The work-study students are covered by Sister Xiao Wu. Just watch me beat them until they're looking for their teeth on the ground." After waking Xiao Wu, Lu Chen went to the cafeteria with her. Lu Chen ate on the first floor, while Xiao Wu went to the second floor. Lu Chen was a poor work-study student with little money of his own, so he could only eat the communal meals on the first floor. As a one-ring spirit master, Xiao Wu had already received her gold coin subsidy from Spirit Hall. Having money, Xiao Wu began a life of lavish spending, eating only the best food, so she went to the second floor of the cafeteria, around 2 in the afternoon, in the small woods behind Nuoding Academy. 2 groups of student factions from Nuoding Academy had already gathered in the woods. Both sides were rubbing their palms and hurling insults at each other, ready to fight at any moment. On the work-study student's side, Xiao Wu stood with her hands on her hips, her expression serious like a female general commanding thousands of troops. She turned to ask Wang Sheng. "Wang Sheng, is everyone here?" Hearing the question, Wang Sheng immediately stood up straight and replied with his chest out. "Basically, all the work-study students are here. Only Tang San hasn't shown up, but he doesn't follow the rules of our Room 7, and we've never counted him as one of us." Xiao Wu's brows furrowed slightly, thinking even less of Tang San. She waved her hand and said, "Forget it. A coward like that wouldn't be of any use even if he came. Boss Lu Chen and I are here. Boss Lu Chen, we can start. Lu Chen nodded upon hearing this, then looked at the leader of the noble students, Xiao Chenyu, the city lord's son. He spoke in a loud voice. How do you want to compete? A glint flashed in Xiao Chenyu's eyes. As the city lord's son, he wasn't a total waste, he had his own little schemes. This time, these work-study students actually dared to challenge them, which meant they must have something to rely on. Xiao Chenyu wouldn't blindly engage in a chaotic brawl. After a moment's thought, he proposed his terms. We will each send out 3 people to fight one-on-one in turns. The loser leaves the field, and the winner stays to accept the next person's challenge until all 3 people from one side are defeated. The side with the last person remaining on the field is the winner of this match. Xiao Chenyu had his little schemes, but unfortunately, in the face of absolute strength, any scheme is powerless. Lu Chen agreed to Xiao Chenyu's terms. The first contestants sent by each side were Wang Sheng for the work-study students and Liu Long for the noble students. Wang Sheng's spirit was the war tiger, with level 8 spirit power. Liu Long's spirit was a long staff, also with level 8 spirit power. Although their spirit power was equal in the absence of spirit abilities, Liu Long's long staff spirit was used more flexibly. After a bout of fighting, Liu Long successfully defeated Wang Sheng. Losing the first battle caused the morale of the work-study students to drop. Seeing this, Xiao Wu couldn't wait and stepped out as the second contestant. Her movement was extremely agile. Her actions were swift, clean, and decisive. In the fight, she threw Liu Long out in just a single exchange. The work-study students won this second battle, which boosted their morale again as they cheered loudly for Xiao Wu. On the noble student side, Xiao Chenyu saw that Xiao Wu's strength was extraordinary. Originally, he wanted to be the final act, but Xiao Chenyu felt that no one on their side besides himself was a match for Xiao Wu, so he had to step up as the second contestant. After Xiao Chenyu entered the field, he immediately performed martial soul possession. He grew taller, his muscles expanded, his body became covered in gray fur, fangs grew in his mouth, claws sprouted from his hands, and his eyes turned into emerald green vertical pupils. Furthermore, a white spirit ring slowly rose from beneath his feet. This represented his status. He was a one-ring spirit master. However, after his martial soul possession, the work-study students didn't feel fear. Instead, they all looked at Xiao Wu with anticipation. At this moment, Xiao Wu also performed martial soul possession. Her legs grew longer, reaching an exaggerated proportion to her body. Her black eyes turned red, and a pair of fluffy rabbit ears grew on her head. What terrified the noble students even more was that a yellow spirit ring gradually rose from beneath Xiao Wu's feet. A yellow spirit ring, a century soul ring. Compared to Xiao Chenyu's decade soul ring, a century soul ring was clearly much rarer and more precious. The outcome of this battle held no surprises. With the crushing advantage of a century soul ring over a decade soul ring, Xiao Wu easily defeated Xiao Chenyu. After Xiao Chenyu's defeat, the noble students could no longer send out a third contestant. After all, even Xiao Chenyu had been defeated, and the noble students had completely lost their nerve. This scheduled fight ultimately ended in a complete victory for the work-study students. Chapter 15. Xiao Wu's dog training chronicles Lu Chen's plan was a resounding success. The moment Xiao Wu revealed that century soul ring, she didn't just defeat Xiao Chenyu physically, she crushed him mentally as well. Even as the son of the city lord, Xiao Chenyu didn't possess a single century soul ring. Yet, he had seen a bright yellow century soul ring manifest on Xiao Wu's body. Filling in the blanks himself, he concluded that Xiao Wu must be the descendant of some hidden family, and her attendance at Nuoding Academy was merely a trial imposed by her clan. With these thoughts in mind, Xiao Chenyu accepted his defeat wholeheartedly. He no longer dared to act arrogant in front of the work-study students, and whenever he saw Xiao Wu, he would respectfully call her sister Xiao Wu. Ever since their duel, where Xiao Wu displayed her divine might, Xiao Wu was no longer just the sister Xiao Wu of Room 7. She had become the sister Xiao Wu of the entire academy. Even Lu Chen benefited from this shift. During the 3 matches back then, although Lu Chen never actually stepped onto the field from start to finish, even Xiao Wu, the possessor of a century soul ring, had to call him Boss Lu Chen. As a result, Lu Chen had become synonymous with being unfathomable within the academy. This left Lu Chen somewhat amused and exasperated. How could he, a spirit scholar who didn't even have a spirit ring yet, be considered unfathomable still? This worked out well. With no one daring to provoke him for no reason, he could focus on his studies at the academy in peace. Some time passed after that, and the master-disciple duo of Tang San and Yu Xiaogang finally returned to Nuoding Academy. Lu Chen happened to run into them when they arrived. Yu Xiaogang's face was deathly pale, showing signs of excessive blood loss, and he looked significantly weaker than before. This led Lu Chen to guess that, just like in the original plot, they had encountered that 400-year-old Datura snake. After Yu Xiaogang was poisoned, Tang San must have bled himself to treat him, resulting in his current state of severe blood loss. Following this logic, Tang San's first spirit ring would, without a doubt, come from that 400-year-old Datura snake. Lu Chen felt like laughing. The further Tang San strayed down the wrong path, the more advantageous it would be for him. When Tang San saw Lu Chen, his expression was quite a sight. A hint of provocation would occasionally flicker in his eyes, as if he viewed Lu Chen as a rival, specifically, a rival for Xiao Wu's favor. Consequently, after Tang San escorted his teacher, Yu Xiaogang, back to his quarters, the first thing he did was go look for Xiao Wu. He wanted to share the news of absorbing his first spirit ring and becoming a one-ring spirit master with her, hoping to make her see him in a new light. To his surprise, Xiao Wu's reaction was cold. She scolded Tang San for being a coward and had no desire to interact with him much at all. This left Tang San completely bewildered. How on earth had he become a coward? After asking around, Tang San finally learned that, during his absence, a duel had broken out between the work-study students and the noble student faction. Every single work-study student had been present except for Tang San, who was away hunting a spirit beast and thus failed to participate. Because of this incident, Tang San became a coward in Xiao Wu's eyes. Tang San found it impossible to clear his name. The stereotype had already set in, and any explanation seemed weak and hollow. He wanted to tell Xiao Wu that he was away hunting a spirit beast, not intentionally avoiding the fight between the work-study students and the nobles. However, Xiao Wu wouldn't listen at all, maintaining a cold expression toward Tang San throughout. Tang San was helpless, but driven by his infatuation with Xiao Wu, he acted like an irredeemable sycophant, playing the clown over and over again in an attempt to win her favor. Meanwhile, while Tang San was wasting time and effort trying to please Xiao Wu, Lu Chen poured all of his energy into acquiring knowledge. Lu Chen was incredibly dedicated to his studies, possessing what could be described as a thirst for knowledge in class. He was always the most attentive student. Literacy, history, geography. Lu Chen's progress was rapid, earning him nothing but praise from all his teachers. Beyond these basic courses, what Lu Chen studied most diligently was knowledge regarding spirit beasts, as this was what he needed most. Details like spirit beast species, distribution, talents, and skills. Lu Chen studied these with the utmost care. Every day after class, he would make a special trip to the teachers' offices to politely ask for guidance. Most of the teachers at Nuoding Academy were responsible and dedicated. Since Lu Chen was proactive in asking questions, they taught him everything they knew. They introduced Lu Chen to the spirit beast knowledge they possessed in great detail, especially knowledge concerning plant-type spirit beasts. Since Lu Chen's spirit was the plant-type blue-silver grass, the majority of his inquiries were focused on plant-type spirit beasts. Aside from the teachers, Lu Chen had another source of information: Xiao Wu. As the incarnation of a 100,000-year soft-bones rabbit, Xiao Wu could be considered one of the old ancestors of the spirit beast world. Her understanding of many spirit beast habits even surpassed that of the Academy's teachers. Despite having lived for a long time, Xiao Wu had likely been protected too well. She didn't have a calculating or scheming bone in her body. With just a few words of praise from Chen, Xiao Wu would get all dizzy with pride and tell him everything she knew about spirit beast habits. Under Chen's thirsty pursuit of knowledge, his daily progress was remarkably evident. Time passed quickly in this manner, and in the blink of an eye, 3 years had gone by. After 3 years of growth, Chen had reached the age of 9, and his transformation was immense. First was his height. He had grown from 1.6 meters to 1.8 meters. Aside from a lingering hint of youth in his face, his physique was indistinguishable from that of an adult. Next was his spirit power. Because he had yet to obtain a first spirit ring, his spirit power remained stuck at rank 10. However, during these 3 years, he had cultivated diligently every day. With his golden finger that made him stronger just by breathing, combined with the meditation method, he achieved a 2x cultivation speed. This allowed his accumulation of spirit power to reach an incredible level. Just looking at his burly 1.8-meter frame at the age of 9, one could infer that the spirit power accumulated in his body must be a terrifying figure. As for exactly what rank of spirit power he had reached, that would only be known after he obtained a spirit ring. Chen had used 3 years to complete 6 years' worth of knowledge, literacy, history, geography. He knew these basic courses by heart. Regarding knowledge of spirit beasts, especially plant-type ones, Chen had studied with the most heart, and he had now accumulated a staggering amount of information. He might not know every single spirit beast on the continent, but he could recognize the vast majority of them, especially plant types, on sight, and could list their attributes, habits, talents, and skills. Now that everything was ready, all that remained was to hunt a spirit beast. To that end, Chen sought out the dean to apply for a leave of absence, citing the need to go out and hunt a spirit beast. Chapter 16. Star Du Great Forest at the main gate of Nuoding Academy. Chen, standing at 1.8 meters tall, carried his pack and walked out of the academy. Behind him was Xiao Wu, who had come to see him off, and Tang San, the #1 simp under Xiao Wu's command. It must be said, Tang San really had perseverance. Even after being turned into a clown time and time again, he still shamelessly clung to Xiao Wu's side, managing to become the ultimate simp among her followers. The scorpion braid behind Xiao Wu fluttered as she enthusiastically waved at Chen, her voice crisp and pleasant, filled with youthful vitality. "Boss Chen, come back early after you absorb your first spirit ring. We'll be waiting for you in the academy." After all, they had been roommates and partners for 3 years. At this moment of parting, Chen turned to look at Xiao Wu and said in a gentle tone, "Hunting spirit beasts is fraught with danger, and I don't know how long I'll be gone. However, as long as fate allows in the future, we will surely meet again one day." Xiao Wu truly had an innocent and romantic nature. She wasn't nervous at all and even said with great anticipation, "We'll definitely meet again." Look at little San. He's already absorbed 2 spirit rings and become a spirit grandmaster, and he hasn't lost any arms or legs. Little San was Tang San. As Xiao Wu's simp, Tang San had already lost his own name in front of her. Even though Xiao Wu called him Little San, Tang San grit his teeth and accepted it with a face full of smiles. It must be said, a simp is truly a terrifying creature. At this moment, a look of surprise intertwined with malice appeared in the eyes of the simp Tang. He was surprised because once Chen left, he would be the closest person to Xiao Wu. Even if he was just a simp, as long as he stayed by Xiao Wu's side all day, there might come a day when he could walk into her heart. He thought maliciously that it would be best if Chen died completely while hunting spirit beasts this time. That way, he would have no more competitors. Tang San thought back to his own 2 spirit beast hunts. The first time hunting the Datrus snake and the second time hunting the ghost vine, even with sufficient preparation, he had narrowly escaped death each time. Chen was all alone. If he went to the spirit beast forest to hunt, he would most likely die inside. This was the darkest thought in the depths of Tang San's heart. The way he looked at Chen was as if he were looking at a dead man. Chen wasn't blind. Tang San radiated malice toward him from head to toe, so how could he not sense it? It just wasn't the time to have a falling out yet. To him, this trip was like the high sky for birds to fly and the wide sea for fish to leap. Once his wings were full grown, it would be time for a final showdown with the father-son duo, Tang Hao and Tang San. The pain and humiliation that Tang Hao and Tang San had brought upon him, and his parents back then, were things he could never forget. Every day, his only thought was to grow strong quickly, and then take revenge on Tang Hao and Tang San. He had to make this father and son regret ever coming into this world. This was a major motivation for Chen's desire to become stronger. Thinking of this, Chen turned and strode away, his booming voice echoing back, "Goodbye, I'm leaving now." After bidding farewell to Xiao Wu, Chen left Nuoding City. He didn't go to hunt spirit beasts immediately, but instead rushed back to Saint Spirit Village. This departure could likely last several years, unlike attending Nodding Academy, where he could at least return once a year. Since he would be gone for a long time, Chen returned to Saint Spirit Village to properly say goodbye to his parents, Anne and Rose, as well as the village chief, Old Jack, who cared about him. After 3 days, Chen had no more worries, so he shouldered his pack once again and set out resolutely on his journey to hunt spirit beasts. Chen held a tattered map in his hand, which he had purchased in Nuoding City. On that tattered map, the major cities of the 2 great empires and some famous spirit beast forests were roughly marked, for example, the Sunset Forest and the Star du Great Forest. Where Chen was headed this time was the Star du Great Forest, located in the center of the Douluo Continent and sandwiched between the 2 great empires. The Star du Great Forest is currently the most vast spirit beast forest on the continent, divided into 3 parts: the outer area, the mixed zone, and the core area. It contains countless spirit beast resources, but is also exceptionally dangerous. In the outer area, there are many 100-year and 1,000-year spirit beasts. In the mixed zone, there are many powerful spirit beasts between 10,000 and 50,000 years old. In the core area, there are only terrifying spirit beasts over 50,000 years old, and there are even top-tier spirit beasts over 100,000 years old. The Star du Great Forest was the place Chen chose to hunt spirit beasts. He believed that by relying on the abundant resources of the Star du Great Forest, he would surely be able to rise in a short time. As for his 2 spirits, the blue-silver grass and the black iron scythe, how should they be developed in the future? During these 3 years, Chen had already considered it countless times. First of all, he definitely couldn't follow Tang San's example. The most important thing for twin spirits is to complement each other's strengths and weaknesses. Tang San's blue-silver grass martial soul started on the control path, and in the late stage, it gained power attack skills, becoming a control plus power attack path. This resulted in a certain overlap with his second spirit, the clear sky hammer, failing to fully utilize the advantages of twin spirits. In Chen's vision, his blue-silver grass martial soul needed to continuously improve its life attribute, following the support system to restore health and mana, provide shields and buffs, and finally be able to bring the dead back to life. Relying on the life attribute of his first spirit, the blue-silver grass, his second spirit, the black iron scythe, could then be imbued with attributes like destruction, darkness, and devastation. The more brutal, the better; the more domineering, the better. As long as the power was great enough, he wouldn't even hesitate to perish together with the enemy. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. Only in this way could he fully exploit the advantages of twin spirits, the first spirit being ultimate life and the second spirit being ultimate destruction. With the 2 spirits complementing each other, it would be enough to turn him into a killing machine. Once the twin spirits' paths he envisioned both reached an extreme, he believed that on this Douluo Continent, he would be invincible under heaven. After half a month of travel, the travel-worn Lu Chen finally arrived outside the Star-Du Great Forest. Thinking about the experiences of the past half-month, Lu Chen was also filled with emotion. Traveling far from home was not easy. When away from home, there was too much to guard against: bandits, wild beasts, shady inns. With just a slight lapse in attention, one would not only lose their money, but even their life. Lu Chen was very lucky. With his golden finger that made him stronger just by breathing, at only 9 years old, he had a 1.8-meter frame and possessed immense strength, which allowed him to overcome crises time and again. With a fair amount of blood on his hands, Lu Chen's eyes became indifferent and his expression more mature. He believed that anyone who had experienced life and death peril could be reborn and grow up quickly. At this moment, Lu Chen looked at the endless dark forest before him and spoke in an excited tone. Star-Du Great Forest, I, Lu Chen, have finally arrived. Chapter 17. 1,000-year red blood grass Star-Du Great Forest, at the edge of the outer perimeter. Carrying his pack, Lu Chen walked through the forest with a vigilant gaze, wary of any danger that might appear from the surroundings at any moment. In his right hand, he gripped a black iron sickle, which was his second spirit, the black iron scythe. The handle was about 2 feet long and 2 fingers thick. At the tip of the handle was a crescent moon-shaped blade, about 1 foot long and 3 fingers wide, sharpened on one side, and currently gleaming with a chilling, cold light. Compared to his first spirit, blue silver grass, his second spirit, the black iron scythe, although merely a farming tool, possessed at least some offensive capability. Especially since this was Lu Chen's spirit, it could carry his immense spirit power. Under the infusion of his vast spirit power, the sharpness of the black iron scythe far exceeded that of weapons forged from refined iron or steel. In the Star-Du Great Forest, the black iron scythe was even more versatile. Not only could it be used for self-defense, but it could also be used to clear a path. In this kind of primeval forest, there was an abundance of obstructing grass and vines. Within these patches of grass and vines, snakes, insects, rats, and ants would often hide, requiring extra vigilance. Lu Chen's black iron scythe was originally meant for harvesting wheat and rice, but for cutting through grass and vines, it worked perfectly fine. Just then, a rustling sound rang out. A dark shadow darted out from a tree nearby, pouncing straight at Lu Chen. Before Lu Chen could even see what creature it was, his body instinctively reacted, and he quickly swung the black iron scythe to strike. As a sharp, cold light flashed through the air, the black shadow that had darted out was instantly split in two. Thud, thud. The creature Lu Chen had split in two had its head and body fall to the ground separately, with blood quickly flowing out and staining the ground crimson. Only then did Lu Chen see the creature's true form. It was a brocade-bellied snake, a highly venomous type of snake spirit beast. If he were bitten by it, he feared he would hardly be able to walk out of the Star-Du Great Forest alive. Lu Chen couldn't help but exclaim. This Star-Du Great Forest is truly fraught with danger. Even at the edge of the outer perimeter, there are spirit beasts like the brocade-bellied snake. The next instant, streaks of yellow light radiated from the corpse of the brocade-bellied snake. After changing several times, they gradually condensed into a yellow spirit ring. This brocade-bellied snake was actually a 100-year spirit beast. Lu Chen glanced at the yellow spirit ring, but quickly withdrew his gaze, not intending to absorb it. He lifted his foot, stepped on the head of the brocade-bellied snake, then bent down to pick up its body, intending to roast it later to eat with his dry rations for lunch. After doing this, Lu Chen continued walking forward without looking back. What he was looking for was a plant spirit beast, specifically one with auxiliary effects. With a clear goal, naturally, there was no hesitation. Unknowingly, Lu Chen had already spent over 10 days in the Star-Du Great Forest, and both his mind and body had been tested to the extreme. Almost every day, Lu Chen had to encounter spirit beast attacks several times. Although he was able to turn danger into safety every time due to his vigilance, it kept his mind tightly strung, and he barely had a good night's sleep. Hunting spirit beasts was indeed a dangerous business. Just today, Chen swung his black iron scythe, cutting through the grass and vines blocking his path. After spending time, he finally hacked out a road. Suddenly, the view before him opened up. He saw a valley ahead, and within that valley grew vast patches of red plants. Chen's pupils constricted, and a look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. Red blood grass. Red blood grass, also known as life-restoring grass, would flow with a bright red, blood-like juice when crushed, which had an extremely powerful effect in treating external wounds. Upon seeing this large patch of red blood grass, Chen first felt a surge of surprise, then quickly became vigilant for a plant spirit beast like red blood grass that could restore injuries. There were usually accompanying animal spirit beasts in its vicinity. The world of spirit beasts was extremely cruel. Once an injury was sustained in a fight, leaving one in a state of blood loss and weakness, one would be targeted by other predators. Red blood grass could restore injuries, so it easily formed a symbiotic relationship with some powerful spirit beasts. Therefore, after seeing the red blood grass, Chen quickly became vigilant, his gaze like lightning, his pupils like torches, as he scanned that patch of red blood grass. Sure enough, he saw a variegated fierce tiger slowly walk out of the valley. The opponent also discovered Chen, and a pair of beastly eyes, flickering with bloodthirsty light, were staring at him without even blinking. Chen's heart sank. This was a great king tiger. The name was quite domineering, but the opponent truly lived up to it. The great king tiger, the king of the forest, possessed terrifying strength and endurance. It was a natural-born hunter. A single tiger roar was enough to suppress and kill some weak spirit beasts. Chen took a deep breath, then walked forward fearlessly. For the sake of his first spirit ring, even if he had to face the great king tiger, he would absolutely not retreat. Roar. Seeing Chen dare to approach, the great king tiger opened its mouth and let out a tiger roar. Then a searing white energy ball was shot from its mouth, blasting toward Chen's position. Seeing this, Chen widened his eyes. Fortunately, his reaction was quick enough. He immediately threw himself down and rolled, dodging the energy ball. The great king tiger took this opportunity to launch a fierce attack. It was as fast as lightning, pouncing toward Chen. As it approached Chen, it leaped up, opened its blood-stained maw, and bit toward Chen's head. Chen knelt on one knee, seeing the huge tiger maw so close at hand. His heartbeat began to accelerate, but unexpectedly, he did not feel a shred of fear. All he had was a surging, vigorous battle intent and killing intent. Chen gritted his teeth, his muscles tense all over. He pushed hard with his feet, sliding underneath to get close to the great king tiger's abdomen. He swung the black iron scythe with his right hand, continuously pouring his spirit power into it, causing the black iron scythe to flash with unprecedented sharpness. Rip. Accompanying the sound of flesh being torn, Chen's black iron scythe, which didn't yet have a spirit ring, actually managed to tear open the great king tiger's abdomen under his full-force swing. Drip, drip, streams of blood flowed out, and the big tiger let out a cry of pain. It was provoked into ferocity by the pain, and in its pair of beast eyes, there was nothing but a gaze that wanted to devour a person. However, Chen was completely unafraid. He stood up from the ground, turned to look at the great king tiger, opened his mouth to roar, and stared directly into the great king tiger's pupils with wide eyes, assuming a stance of fighting to the death. Whimper. For spirit beasts, the more afraid you are, the more aggressive they become. If you are more aggressive, they will become afraid instead. Facing Chen, who seemed determined to fight to the death, the great king tiger whined. Not wanting to fight Chen to the bitter end, it finally tucked its tail and turned to flee. Seeing this, Chen also breathed a sigh of relief. After all, he didn't have a single spirit ring yet, and relying solely on his immensely powerful body, he didn't have absolute certainty that he could deal with the great king tiger. Now that the great king tiger had run away, it was time for Chen to inspect his gains. He turned around and walked into the valley, looking at the vast patches of red blood grass. 10-year red blood grass, 100-year red blood grass, 1,000-year red blood grass. Deep in this valley, there was actually a stalk of thousand-year red blood grass. Lu Chen's pupils constricted, and a look of hesitation appeared on his face. Chapter 18, 4,000-year cloud mist tea tree. I've decided to choose you, thousand-year red blood grass. After a moment of hesitation, Lu Chen finally made up his mind. The bold are stuffed, the timid starve. Relying on his formidable physique, which had allowed him to beat away a thousand-year great king tiger with his bare hands, Lu Chen refused to believe he could not absorb a thousand-year spirit ring. Having made his decision, Lu Chen walked up to the thousand-year red blood grass, swung the black iron scythe in his hand, and severed the 3-meter-tall red blood grass along with its roots. Drip, drip. Drops of red liquid flowed from the severed roots of the red blood grass. It looked exactly like fresh blood, yet it emitted a strange fragrance. Even though the thousand-year red blood grass, as a plant spirit beast, possessed extremely vigorous vitality, its life reached its end after its roots were severed. As the thousand-year red blood grass trembled, waves of rich purple light drifted out from its roots, stems, and leaves. After several transformations, it finally condensed into a purple spirit ring. A purple spirit ring, a thousand-year spirit ring. This was a powerful spirit ring that normally required one to reach level 30 in spirit power to absorb. But Lu Chen, confident in his strong physical constitution, decided to use it as his first spirit ring. While other spirit masters were still absorbing 10-year spirit rings or century soul rings as their first spirit ring, Lu Chen dared to use a thousand-year spirit ring as his first. It must be said, this was an attempt to break convention. Afterwards, Lu Chen hoisted the thousand-year red blood grass onto his shoulder and turned to walk out of the valley. He dared not absorb the spirit ring here. In the process of absorbing a spirit ring, he would be unable to move freely. If that great king tiger returned while he was absorbing the spirit ring and he could not move freely, he would be done for. To absorb the spirit ring, he still needed to find a safe place. Carrying the thousand-year red blood grass, Lu Chen traveled forward quickly while vigilantly scanning his surroundings, guarding against sudden attacks from spirit beasts, searching for a place to absorb the spirit ring. About half an hour later, Lu Chen found a towering tree with a hollow in it, which seemed to be a nest abandoned by some spirit beast. Lu Chen climbed up to test it. If he curled up his body, it could barely accommodate him, so he decided to absorb the spirit ring there. He curled up and entered the tree hollow, using the pack he carried with him to block the opening tightly. After making full preparations, Lu Chen closed his eyes, activated his meditation method, communicated with his blue-silver grass martial soul, and began to absorb the purple spirit ring of the thousand-year red blood grass. After being summoned, the purple spirit ring suddenly floated toward Lu Chen, settled over the blue-silver grass in his palm, and then rapidly shrank until it merged into it. In an instant, a burst of vigorous spirit power, filled with the aura of life, spread outward. Nourished by that life force, Lu Chen's blue-silver grass martial soul trembled gently, growing taller, stronger, and more vibrant at a speed visible to the naked eye. That immense spirit power also fed back from Lu Chen's blue-silver grass martial soul into his own body. The massive spirit power traveled through his meridians and finally arrived at his dantian, seemingly wanting to wreak havoc, but sleeping within Lu Chen's dantian was an unimaginably vast amount of spirit power. Under the suppression of this vast spirit power, the spirit power of the thousand-year red blood grass spirit ring acted like a mouse seeing a cat, obedient and afraid to run wild. Under the refinement of Lu Chen's blue-silver grass martial soul, that external spirit power was finally completely dispersed and integrated into his own spirit power. The entire process was exceptionally smooth. Lu Chen's absorption of the thousand-year spirit ring was actually somewhat risky, but the result was better than he had imagined. He had absorbed this spirit ring without suffering any harm. The process of absorbing the spirit ring lasted about 40 minutes in total. Just after 40 minutes, Lu Chen's absorption ended. Inside the tree hollow, Lu Chen opened his eyes, which shone with joy. The corners of his mouth turned up, revealing an irrepressible smile. He thought with great delight. Absorbing a 1,000-year spirit ring was actually so easy. It seems I underestimated my own body. After absorbing the first spirit ring, my spirit power has directly surged to level 20. Next, I should go look for the second spirit ring I need. My first spirit ring is a 1,000-year spirit ring from the red blood grass. I am also very satisfied with this skill. Blue-silver recovery. After using the first spirit ability, I can release blue light mist. Anyone bathed in the blue light mist can quickly recover from their injuries. After completing the absorption of the first spirit ring, Chen pushed aside the pack blocking the tree hollow, crawled out of the narrow space, and leaped from the towering tree to the ground. With a thought, he summoned his blue-silver grass martial soul, and a stalk of blue-silver grass grew out of thin air above his palm. Beneath his feet, a magnificent purple spirit ring rose up. Compared to his original spirit, this blue-silver grass was taller, stronger, and more vibrant. On the leaves of the blue-silver grass, one could see streaks of blood-red patterns, as if they were blood vessels. This was the blue-silver grass after completing one round of evolution. Chen believed that as long as he persisted in absorbing the spirit rings of plant spirit beasts, his blue-silver grass would eventually evolve into the variant blue-silver emperor. Chen laughed aloud and said, "My blue-silver grass has evolved, and the first spirit ring I absorbed perfectly meets my expectations. With this recovery skill, I won't have to fear getting injured in battle while in the Douluo Great Forest." As his voice fell, Chen retracted his blue-silver grass martial soul, shouldered his pack again, chose a direction at random, and walked forward, preparing to search for the second spirit ring he needed. Finding a suitable spirit beast in the vast Douluo Great Forest is no easy task. More than a month has passed since he absorbed the 1,000-year red blood grass spirit ring. Chen had been searching tirelessly in the outer area of the Douluo Great Forest for over a month. Although he had encountered quite a few plant spirit beasts, none were suitable for him. Either the species was wrong, or the age was inappropriate. After searching painstakingly for over a month, Chen was exhausted. Today, he arrived at the edge of a lake, intending to wash his face and calm down. However, upon reaching the lake, Chen looked toward the island in the center of the lake and widened his eyes. He saw a massive tea tree growing on the island in the center of the lake. Its branches and leaves were lush and verdant, and a faint tea fragrance drifted over, making Chen feel refreshed. Chen exclaimed in surprise, "A cloud mist tea tree. I actually found a cloud mist tea tree, and judging by its size, this cloud mist tea tree is about 4,000 years old. Heaven is truly helping me." The tea leaves harvested from the cloud mist tea tree are a top-tier luxury item in high society. The tea brewed from them has the miraculous effect of eliminating fatigue and restoring energy. In high society, there is a saying, "An ounce of tea is worth an ounce of gold." If Chen were to bring this cloud mist tea tree back intact, the great nobles of the imperial capital would spare no expense to purchase it. A 4,000-year-old cloud mist tea tree would not be priced lower than 400,000 gold coins. However, what Chen needs right now is not gold coins, but a second spirit ring suitable for him. Chapter 19. Blue-silver grace. Chen's first spirit ring had absorbed a 1,000-year red blood grass spirit ring, so he believed his second spirit ring would be enough to absorb this 4,000-year cloud mist tea tree spirit ring. Now, the only thing standing before Chen was the lake at his feet. It was impossible for there to be no accompanying spirit beast around the cloud mist tea tree. Looking at the clear, rippling lake, Chen felt extremely vigilant. This place was definitely not as safe as it appeared. Chen put down his backpack and walked into the forest. After half an hour, he returned to the lake carrying the corpses of 2 nether wolves. Chen used his second spirit, the black iron scythe, to slit the throats of the 2 nether wolves. Blood gushed out instantly, and the smell of blood filled the entire lake. He casually tossed the bleeding nether wolves by the lakeshore and hid himself. Chen was very patient and would never act rashly. He hid in the shadows and waited patiently for over 10 minutes. Finally, ripples appeared on the once calm surface, and a massive creature floated up from beneath the water. Seeing the huge creature, Chen took a sharp breath. It was an iron-armored crocodile. Looking at its strong limbs, thick scales, and sharp teeth glinting coldly, one could tell this iron-armored crocodile was not to be trifled with. After careful observation, Chen thought, this iron-armored crocodile is 4 meters long and has at least 4,000 years of cultivation, similar to the cloud mist tea tree. It seems to be the accompanying spirit beast of the cloud mist tea tree. To absorb the spirit ring of the cloud mist tea tree, it seems this iron-armored crocodile must be dealt with. In Chen's sight, the iron-armored crocodile smelled the blood and quickly crawled onto the shore. It opened its massive mouth, took the 2 nether wolf corpses, and turned to return to the lake. Chen certainly wouldn't let it return easily. Once the iron-armored crocodile returned to the lake and started making waves, he would have no way to deal with it. Only while it was on shore could he fight it. Even if he couldn't kill it, he had to at least drive it away. Seizing the opportunity, Chen rushed out, caught up to the iron-armored crocodile in a few steps, grabbed its tail and pulled it back with all his strength. Roar. The iron-armored crocodile realized late that its tail was caught. It quickly spat out the nether wolf and let out a roar. Then it twisted its body frantically, trying to break free from Chen's restraint. Chen's muscles tensed and he shouted, "Up you go." Who would have thought that in a contest of strength, the iron-armored crocodile would actually fall behind? Chen swung it by its tail and threw it into the nearby forest. Boom! The massive body of the iron-armored crocodile was thrown into the forest, stopping only when it hit a large tree. The violent impact left the iron-armored crocodile dazed. Chen looked solemn. He quickly gave chase and with a thought summoned his second spirit, the black iron scythe. The vast spirit power in his body continuously poured into it, making the black iron scythe glow with a cold light. While the iron-armored crocodile was still dazed, Chen rushed into the forest and swung the black iron scythe, stabbing it into one of the crocodile's eyes. Arg! The intense pain instantly snapped the iron-armored crocodile awake. Its ferocity was fully triggered, and it lunged forward with all its might. Although Chen tried his best to dodge, the impact still grazed him, knocking him back 6 or 7 steps. Chen grimaced in pain and looked at his abdomen. His clothes were torn, and the skin on his stomach was scraped, looking a bit bloody. Although it wasn't very serious, it reminded him once again that when facing a spirit beast of several thousand years, one must be extremely careful. Chen took a deep breath, gripped the black iron scythe, and charged again. He dodged the iron-armored crocodile's bites and lunges while swinging the black iron scythe at various parts of its body. Clang, 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 clang. The scales of this iron-armored crocodile were unbelievably hard. When Chen's black iron scythe struck them, it only produced a series of sparks and couldn't break its defense at all. Ultimately, this was because Chen's black iron scythe hadn't been augmented with a spirit ring yet. As an ordinary spirit, its attack power was insufficient. In the forest, the man and the crocodile fought intensely. Eventually, Chen found an opportunity and used the black iron scythe to blind the iron-armored crocodile's other eye. With both eyes blinded, the iron-armored crocodile finally felt fear. It let out a bluffing roar and then fled in a panic. Having finally driven away the iron-armored crocodile, Chen breathed a sigh of relief. He retracted his second spirit, the black iron scythe, and summoned his first spirit, the blue-silver grass. As a blue glow gradually shone, a blue-silver grass with blood-colored patterns grew out of thin air in his palm. A faint ripple of spirit power emanated, and a magnificent purple spirit ring slowly rose from beneath his feet. First spirit ability, blue-silver recovery. Chen activated his first spirit ability. His blue-silver grass martial soul swayed gently, emitting clouds of blue light mist. Chen bathed in the blue light mist, and his injuries recovered quickly. A moment later, the minor injuries on Chen's body were completely healed. Having recovered from his injuries and driven away the iron-armored crocodile, it was finally time for Chen to reap the rewards. He walked to the lakeshore, swam to the island in the center, and eagerly approached the cloud mist tea tree. He summoned his second spirit, the black iron scythe, again and cut down the defenseless cloud mist tea tree. With a crash, the cloud mist tea tree fell. Its life came to an end, and a dense purple light was released from its trunk. After several transformations, it finally condensed into a purple spirit ring. Chen's spirits rose at the sight. However, he didn't absorb the spirit ring immediately. Instead, he took a packet of powder from his robe, a powder used to repel snakes, insects, and rodents. Although the iron-armored crocodile wasn't dead, its eyes had been blinded by him. Chen scattered the powder in a circle around him. This would interfere with the iron-armored crocodile's sense of smell, preventing it from finding him again. After doing this, Chen sat cross-legged on the ground, circulated his meditation method, communicated with his blue-silver grass martial soul, and began to absorb the 4,000-year spirit ring of the cloud mist tea tree. The deep purple, magnificent spirit ring floated over, circled the blue-silver grass martial soul, quickly shrank, and merged into it. A surge of spirit power full of vitality spread out, causing the blue-silver grass martial soul to tremble violently. It began to grow at a visible rate, undergoing a new round of evolution. At the same time, a massive amount of spirit power flowed back into Chen's body, traveling through his meridians and finally gathering in his dantian. However, under the suppression of his own spirit power, no chaos occurred. After refining and absorbing it, it completely merged into his own spirit power. It took about 40 to 50 minutes for Chen to complete the absorption of the second spirit ring. He opened his eyes and first felt his own spirit power. As expected, it had surged to level 30, allowing him to directly absorb a third spirit ring. Then he summoned his blue-silver grass martial soul, and two magnificent purple spirit rings rose slowly from beneath his feet. Both the first and second spirit rings were purple spirit rings. Such a spirit ring configuration would likely be unbelievable to anyone who heard of it. As for his blue-silver grass martial soul, after the second round of evolution, its stems were thicker and its leaves wider. Besides the blood-colored patterns, it also emitted a faint, unique fragrance and a dense aura of life. Chen nodded with satisfaction. The change is significant. The previous blue-silver grass martial soul was just a low-tier spirit, but now it's at least an intermediate spirit. 2,000-year plant spirit rings have been a great help to its evolution. And my second spirit ability, blue-silver grace, can eliminate fatigue and restore energy, including physical strength and spirit power. All of these can be restored. The first spirit ability restores health, the second restores spirit power. For the next third spirit ability, it's time to add a buffing ability. Chapter 20. 8,000-year sun-facing flower on the island in the middle of the lake. Chen retracted his spirit, stretched vigorously, and his bones popped like roasting beans. Through his tattered clothes, one could see clearly defined muscles. With his blue-silver grass martial soul having successively absorbed the first and second spirit rings, not only had his accumulated spirit power gradually been released to level 30, but his physique had also been significantly strengthened. In terms of pure strength, Chen was not even inferior to some spirit beasts, but lacking sharp fangs and claws, he lacked corresponding means of attack. To improve his attack capabilities, Chen currently only had two ideas. One was to attempt to create his own spirit ability during battle. The second was to attach a spirit ring to his second spirit, the black iron scythe. Chen instantly rejected the second idea. Attaching a spirit ring to his second spirit now, even if it were a millennium spirit ring, would be very uneconomical. Considering this, he could only try the first idea, to attempt to create some spirit abilities during upcoming battles. Chen rubbed his chin, his eyes flashing with a sharp light as he thought, if I am to create a spirit ability, since my blue-silver grass martial soul has absorbed spirit rings, its toughness has greatly increased. I can try to train in binding techniques. Binding, isn't this a plant's instinct? Even if I cannot completely bind the opponent, As long as I can delay their movements, I can create opportunities to attack. Another thing is, by compressing and releasing spirit power, alternating between these two states, I should be able to unleash considerable power. Anyway, with the blue-silver recovery and blue-silver grace skills, I am not afraid of getting hurt. At worst, I'll just try a few more times and I will eventually succeed in creating a spirit ability. Thinking of this, Chen had gradually made a plan in his heart. As he was about to turn and leave, he looked back at the fallen cloud Mist Tea Tree. A 4,000-year-old cloud Mist Tea Tree is worth at least 400,000 gold coins. Unfortunately, for me right now, what I need is not gold coins, but a suitable second spirit ring. Therefore, I have to cut you down. However, these tea leaves cannot be wasted. After leaving the Star Du Great Forest, these tea leaves will be quite precious. I can give them to Mom and Dad, Grandpa Old Jack, and the teachers at Nuoding Academy. After speaking, Chen walked towards the fallen cloud Mist Tea Tree and began to pick the freshest tea leaves from the top of the tree. Chen spent 3 days performing some simple processing on the fresh tea leaves he had picked. Unfortunately, he was not a tea master and did not know how to properly process the cloud Mist tea leaves. Therefore, the tea leaves he processed were at most of medium quality, and their final value was greatly discounted. Chen sighed repeatedly. What a pity, such a pity. Carrying this feeling of regret, Chen took a large bag of cloud Mist tea leaves, left the island in the middle of the lake, put his pack back on, and began searching for the next suitable spirit beast. The process of finding a suitable spirit beast is never smooth sailing. It requires a lot of time and energy to find one suitable for oneself in the dangerous Star Du Great Forest. More than a month passed unconsciously. While searching for spirit beasts in the Star Du Great Forest, Chen began to consciously try to create his own spirit abilities in addition to searching for beasts. Whether it was the binding technique of the blue-silver grass or the compression and release technique of spirit power, he slowly figured out a few things, but he still lacked practical experience and could not be sure of their feasibility. Just at this time, Chen discovered a sun-facing flower that was 1.8 meters tall on a hillside in the Star Du Great Forest. Looking at the plant-type spirit beast from afar, which resembled a sunflower, a look of joy could not help but appear on Chen's face. A sun-facing flower. After the sun comes out during the day, its flower disk will always face the sun, allowing it to absorb and store solar energy. After the sun sets at night, the sun-facing flower will fall into a deep sleep, but the solar energy stored during the day can condense into a layer of blazing sun shield. Isn't this exactly the shield skill I wanted? And looking at the size of this sun-facing flower, it has at least 8,000 years of cultivation, which is within the age range I can absorb. Chen's first spirit ring and second spirit ring had absorbed the spirit rings of a 1,000-year red blood grass and a 4,000-year cloud Mist tea tree, respectively. Since he was able to successfully absorb these millennium spirit rings, Chen was confident that he could successfully absorb the spirit ring of this 8,000-year sun-facing flower. After deciding to hunt this sun-facing flower as his third spirit ring, Chen put down the pack on his back and walked towards the location of the sun-facing flower. It was still broad daylight, with a scorching sun hanging high in the sky. The flower disk of the sun-facing flower was facing the sun. This was its most active time. Chen walked towards the sun-facing flower, and the sun-facing flower noticed Chen. The sun-facing flower was not like the delicate red blood grass or the cloud Mist tea tree. It possessed quite remarkable strength. Perhaps sensing Chen's killing intent, the flower disk of the sun-facing flower trembled slightly and then turned towards Chen. Seeing this, Chen immediately became vigilant. Sure enough, in the next instant, 3 explosive seeds were sprayed from the flower disk of the sun-facing flower, shooting towards Chen's position. Chen's eyes narrowed, and he immediately reacted, pushing off with his feet to leap to the side, dodging the 3 explosive seeds. Bang! 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 The 3 explosive seeds landed where Chen had originally been standing. 3 explosions occurred instantly. and scorching flame energy ravaged the area, blasting the surrounding few meters into scorched black. The small flowers and grasses on the ground burned rapidly in the explosion, and in no time, they turned into ashes all over the ground. Seeing this, a look of surprise appeared on Lu Chen's face. His understanding of the sun-facing flower came from the introductions of the teachers at Nuoding Academy. Now that he had seen the sun-facing flower with his own eyes, he was surprised to find that it was even more powerful than he had imagined. If this move of explosive seeds had hit him directly, he feared it would have burned him instantly. Although he was surprised by the power of the sun-facing flower, Lu Chen had no intention of retreating. Instead, he could use the explosive seeds of the sun-facing flower to train his footwork. In the next instant, 5 more explosive seeds were sprayed from the flower disc of the sun-facing flower. Lu Chen quickly bent his knees slightly, circulated his spirit power to his feet, and kept compressing it within his soles. Then, like a rocket launching, he released the compressed spirit power. However, due to a moment of carelessness, the compressed spirit power exploded. Although it allowed him to use the force to launch himself, the direction of the launch was completely out of his control. Furthermore, as the spirit power exploded, it mangled his soles, and a piercing pain shot straight to his brain, making him grimace in pain. With a bang, Lu Chen, who had been launched, finally slammed onto the ground, rolled a few times, and finally came to a stop. Despite having various flaws, regardless of how it happened, after the compressed spirit power was released, it had launched him away, successfully dodging the 5 explosive seeds. Bang, 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 bang. 5 explosion sounds rang out one after another, and the waves of fire that were set off made Lu Chen look disheveled. His clothes were scorched black. His already tattered clothes were burned with holes of various sizes by the sparks that flew over. His hair was roasted until it was a bit dry, and his face was roasted bright red. Lu Chen did not care about these things. He looked at the sun-facing flower with a firm expression. Come again. As long as I try a few more times, I will definitely be able to master this burst step. Chapter 21. Burst Step and Cannon Fist. Bang, bang, bang. For the entire day, the sound of explosions had not ceased. The sun-facing flower truly suffered a great deal. Its innate ability, Burst Seed, was used by Lu Chen to train his footwork. Throughout the day, the sun-facing flower had sprayed over 100 burst seeds, exhausting itself completely. In the end, not only did it fail to kill Lu Chen, but under high-intensity pressure, Lu Chen's footwork became increasingly agile. It was fortunate that the sun-facing flower, being a plant spirit beast, lacked organs like a mouth. Otherwise, it would surely be cursing up a storm right now. As the sun gradually slanted westward, the vitality of the sun-facing flower grew weaker. When the last ray of sunlight dissipated, the sun-facing flower seemed to fall into a deep sleep. However, the sleeping sun-facing flower was not completely without resistance. A golden light bloomed from within its flower disk, immediately forming a golden energy shield that completely enveloped the sun-facing flower itself. Seeing this, Lu Chen, who looked disheveled and covered in dust, stopped, panting heavily. His clothes were scorched, and there were burn marks all over his body. His skin was barely intact, and his face grimaced in pain. As soon as sweat seeped out, it was immediately baked dry. One could see how agonizing this process of training footwork was for Lu Chen. The next moment, Lu Chen summoned his first blue-silver grass martial soul. A stalk of blue-silver grass with blood-colored patterns, emitting a faint, exotic fragrance and permeated with a rich life force, grew out of thin air. 2 magnificent purple spirit rings slowly rose beneath Lu Chen's feet. They were the mark of his status as a spirit grandmaster. Others had 1 white and 1 yellow spirit ring, or 2 yellow spirit rings, but he had 2 purple spirit rings. If this were to spread, it would surely cause a massive stir in the spirit master's world. First spirit ability, blue-silver recovery. Second spirit ability, blue-silver grace. As Lu Chen finished speaking, the 2 purple spirit rings bloomed with light. His spirit power poured into his blue-silver grass martial soul, and the blue-silver grass martial soul began to sway gently. emitting bursts of blue light mist. Bathed in that blue light mist, the injuries on his body were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye, and his fatigued spirit was also greatly relieved, while his physical strength recovered rapidly. As for his spirit power, although it had been consumed to a certain extent due to using his spirit ability, his golden finger was that he became stronger through breathing. With every breath, he could absorb the energy of the world. Recovery was faster than consumption, ensuring his spirit power never showed signs of depletion. After about 3 minutes, Chen had recovered to his peak state, looking vibrant. His body was unscathed and there were no traces of burns visible at all. Let's go get something to eat first. After I come back, I'll use the sun-facing flower's solar shield to train the cannon fist I've envisioned. Burst Step and Cannon Fist were the self-created spirit abilities that Chen had pondered over the past month. The principles of both self-created spirit abilities came from the compression and release of spirit power. Burst Step involved compressing and releasing spirit power in the feet to increase his speed. Cannon Fist involved compressing and releasing spirit power in the hands to form an energy shockwave used as an attack method. Theoretically, there were no problems. What was lacking was a large amount of practice to make these two self-created spirit abilities truly take shape. The current 8,000-year-old sun-facing flower was simply the best sparring partner for Chen. Chen's first spirit ability could recover injuries, and his second spirit ability could eliminate fatigue and restore energy. This allowed Chen to quickly recover his body after being injured or overexerting himself, then continue training. He believed that it wouldn't be long before his two self-created spirit abilities could exert their effects in actual combat. Returning to the present, as the sky darkened, the entire forest appeared very eerie and silent. The calls of some unknown birds drifted over, giving people a creepy feeling. Fortunately, Chen was used to it. He returned to the location of his pack, collected some wood, and lit a campfire. He took out some dried meat he had made from his pack, used a knife to cut it into small pieces, and added some wild vegetables he had dug up nearby, placing them in a small pot to stew. Before long, a fragrant meat soup was ready. After Chen was full, he crossed his hands behind his head and lay down to watch the stars in the sky for a while, thinking that he had only been out for a few months and had already obtained his first and second spirit rings, and he was also working on self-created spirit abilities. Once the self-created spirit abilities were successful, and he killed this sun-facing flower, his blue-silver grass martial soul would be able to obtain its third spirit ring. Soon, I am one step closer to getting my revenge. A flash of intense hatred burst from Chen's eyes. Thinking of the humiliation that Tang Hao and Tang San, father and son, had brought upon him and his parents, he felt a gnashing of teeth. Even after so many years, he simply could not let it go. Tang Hao, Tang San, you two just wait. I will definitely make you father and son suffer a fate worse than death, and regret coming into this world. After uttering these harsh words, Chen jumped up from the ground, tore off his tattered shirt, revealing his sturdy chest and well-defined abdominal muscles. Chen stretched his hands and feet, then strode toward the sun-facing flower. At this moment, the sun-facing flower was asleep, but a solar shield had already unfolded around it. Cannon Fist. Chen clenched his right fist, whispered in his mouth, and channeled his spirit power to his fist to compress it. With the experience from the day, the process of compressing spirit power went very smoothly. After all, the principles of Burst Step and Cannon Fist were actually the same. They both relied on the process of spirit power compression and release. As the spirit power was highly compressed, Chen's clenched right hand trembled slightly. On the surface of his fist, waves of spirit power fluctuations spread out uncontrollably. Chen's eyes widened, and as he punched out violently, he completely released the compressed spirit power on his fist. Boom! Chen punched the solar shield, and the golden energy barrier rippled faintly. Although Chen's punch failed to completely shatter the solar shield, it caused a significant impact on it. Seeing this, joy appeared between Chen's brows. It looks pretty good. This power is much greater than my simple punch, but it still needs further improvement. I need to compress the spirit power further, just like a spring. Only by compressing it harder will the rebound force be greater. Also, I need to control the angle of the spirit power release. The force must be concentrated. The more concentrated it is, the greater the power. The more scattered it is, the smaller the power. Continue. When I can shatter the sun-facing flower's solar shield with one punch, my self-created spirit ability Cannon Fist will be truly formed. As his voice fell, Chen quickly withdrew his fist, then continued to repeat the previous action. Charging up, punching, one punch after another hitting the sun-facing flower's solar shield. Boom, boom, boom. Chen was like an indefatigable robot, practicing his punches until the second half of the night before he went back to rest, and this kind of training lasted for 20-something days. Chapter 22, Level 40 Spirit Power. The sun-facing flower, having been tormented by Chen day and night for over 20 days, looked somewhat wilted at this moment. It feebly spat out 3 burst seeds in the direction of Chen. Burst step. Chen reacted instantly, channeling his spirit power to the soles of his feet to compress it, the moment that compressed spirit power was released. The ground was crushed into a deep footprint, and Chen was propelled directly outward, dodging the 3 burst seeds. Bang, bang, bang. The explosions of the 3 burst seeds did not harm Chen in the slightest. After Chen's long and arduous practice, this self-created spirit ability, burst step, could now be applied in actual combat. Having been propelled into midair, Chen, like a great rock spreading its wings, used the momentum of his descent to rapidly pounce toward the sun-facing flower. Facing the menacing Chen, the sun-facing flower instinctively activated its sun shield. Its flower disk bloomed with a wisp of golden light, forming a golden energy shield that completely enveloped it. Chen raised his hand and clenched his fist, channeling streams of spirit power along his meridians to his fist to compress them. Cannon Fist. Just as he neared the sun-facing flower, Chen threw a fierce punch, and the spirit power, compressed to its limit, was released through his fist, forming a terrifying energy shockwave. Boom. Accompanied by a loud blast, terrifying energy fluctuations scattered, and the golden energy shield covering the sun-facing flower, ultimately unable to withstand the power of that punch, shattered completely. The scattered fragments of the shield dissolved rapidly in the air, vanishing without a trace in an instant. Chen's formidable cannon fist, having shattered the sun shield, struck the flower disk of the sun-facing flower with undiminished power. Crack, 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 crack. Under the force of Chen's punch, this 8,000-year-old sun-facing flower had its flower disk shattered, thoroughly torn apart, with its broken body parts scattered everywhere. Subscribe for more amazing novel audiobooks. Don't forget to like, comment, and share Infinite Novel Audio. After shattering the sun-facing flower, Chen landed on the ground, looked at his fist, then at the shattered sun-facing flower and couldn't help but smile. Excellent. Burst step is enough to double my speed, and the immense power of Cannon Fist finally gives me the ability to truly fight against those high-level spirit beasts. Meanwhile, the sun-facing flower, its flower disc destroyed, had reached the end of its life, and thick streams of purple energy were released from its broken body. After several shifts, that massive purple energy condensed into a deep purple spirit ring, and the terrifying energy fluctuations emitted by the spirit ring rippled through the air. This was an 8,000-year-old spirit ring. It was almost the highest-grade 1,000-year spirit ring. And today, Chen would use this 8,000-year-old spirit ring as the 3rd spirit ring for his blue-silver grass martial soul. Looking at this purple spirit ring, Chen dug a hole on the spot, moved a stone over, crawled into the hole, and then used the stone to block the entrance. Although it was a bit sleazy, it had the advantage of being safe. Chen sat cross-legged underground, closed his eyes, activated his meditation method, connected with his blue-silver grass martial soul, and began to absorb this 8,000-year-old sun-facing flower spirit ring. In an instant, the purple spirit ring floated over, draped itself over his blue-silver grass martial soul, then contracted and merged into it. A massive surge of spirit power, extremely masculine and scorching, yet filled with the aura of life, instantly swept over his blue-silver grass martial soul. Under the nourishment of that life aura, his blue-silver grass martial soul began to tremble violently, growing robustly at a speed visible to the naked eye, and began its third round of evolution. Each absorption of a spirit ring was a small evolution for the martial soul. Different spirit rings naturally led to different directions of evolution. To ensure the martial soul evolved correctly, the spirit rings to be absorbed naturally had to be carefully selected. Lu Chen's martial soul was blue-silver grass. Unfortunately, it was impossible for him to find 9 blue-silver grass spirit beasts of suitable age, hunt them, and absorb their spirit rings. For this reason, he could only settle for the next best thing. Every spirit beast he hunted was a plant-type spirit beast full of vitality. Although absorbing the spirit rings of these plant-type spirit beasts could not evolve the blue-silver grass into a legitimate blue-silver emperor, it could evolve the blue-silver grass into a variant blue-silver emperor. It was hard to say which of the two was superior. The legitimate blue-silver emperor's strength lay in its purity. The variant blue-silver emperor's strength lay in its all-encompassing nature. By fusing the characteristics of 9 great plant-type spirit beasts into one, the variant blue-silver emperor might not necessarily be inferior to the legitimate blue-silver emperor. Returning to the present, the process of Lu Chen absorbing this 8,000-year-old sun-facing flower spirit ring could be considered quite smooth. There was a massive amount of spirit power sleeping within his body, and under the suppression of his own spirit power, the 8,000-year-old sun-facing flower spirit ring did not cause any trouble and was completely suppressed. After about an hour, Lu Chen completely finished absorbing the third spirit ring for his blue-silver grass martial soul. He opened his deep, dark eyes, raised his head, pushed with his hand to lift the giant stone above him, and breathed in fresh air. Afterward, Lu Chen jumped out of the hole, spread his arms, and took a deep breath. Now he felt that his condition was better than ever before. A moment later, Lu Chen sensed his own spirit power, and as he expected, his spirit power had surged to level 40. Moreover, in his view, a mere level 40 spirit power was definitely not his limit. He had been transmigrated to the Douluo Continent for 9 full years, and thanks to his golden finger that made him stronger just by breathing, his spirit power was constantly rising every moment. Especially since 3 years ago, when he learned the meditation method and discovered it could double his cultivate speed, his diligence in cultivate was second to none in the entire Nuoding Academy. Now, after accumulating so much, it was finally time for him to reap the rewards. Lu Chen suddenly smiled coldly. I remember when I left Nuoding Academy, the way Tang San looked at me was as if he were looking at a dead man. He probably thought that by hunting spirit beasts alone, I would definitely die in the process of hunting them. But who would have thought that not only did I not die, but I am living well, and in just a few short months, I have successfully absorbed 3 spirit rings and become a spirit elder. Heh, Tang San, just you wait. When I return, I will let you know what it means to be in agony. As his voice fell, Lu Chen summoned his blue-silver grass martial soul again to observe what changes had occurred to it. Aside from becoming taller and stronger, his blue-silver grass martial soul actually emitted a layer of soft, golden halo on its surface. This greatly surprised Lu Chen. His blue-silver grass martial soul felt increasingly approachable and divine. Meanwhile, after he summoned his martial soul, 3 purple spirit rings rose from beneath his feet. Purple, purple, purple. Such a terrifying spirit ring configuration was something only Lu Chen could achieve on this continent today. Lu Chen sensed the ability of that third spirit ring. Not bad. Blue-silver protection. Each time the ability is activated, it can condense a layer of golden shield, with defense power directly proportional to one's own spirit power. The stronger one's own spirit power, the stronger the defense of blue-silver protection. Those with spirit power lower than mine can almost never break the defense. Those with spirit power close to mine must use a full-strength attack to have a chance to break the defense. And for those with spirit power higher than mine, even if they can break the defense, one shield can still negate one attack. Chapter 23. Storage Spirit Tool. Chen retracted his spirit, taking one last look at the incomplete sun-facing flower to ensure nothing was missed. He walked back to where his pack was, slung it over his shoulder, and chose a random direction in the Stardew Great Forest to head off. His tone carried a hint of anticipation. Time to set out and find my fourth spirit ring. My first was 1,000 years, my second 4,000, and my third 8,000. My fourth spirit ring should be enough to absorb something between 10,000 and 15,000 years old. It's just that for spirit beasts over 10,000 years, one has to endure the backlash of their soul's resentment during absorption. This soul shock is a real headache. My physique is strong enough and my spirit power is deep, but whether my mental force can withstand the soul shock is still an unknown. Chen frowned, a look of contemplation appearing on his face. The shadows of the trees swayed as sunlight pierced through the canopy, leaving mottled patterns of light and shadow on the ground. As the wind blew, the sound of rustling leaves echoed all around. Whether it was an illusion or not, as Chen walked through the forest, he constantly felt as if someone were watching him, or perhaps paying him their respects. Chen couldn't help but feel puzzled, his gaze turning wary. What's going on? Is there a spirit beast trying to ambush me from the shadows? After several rounds of investigation, Chen found no hidden spirit beasts. There were only patches upon patches of blue-silver grass. Blue-silver grass. Chen's eyes suddenly widened. He leaned down, the damp scent of soil hitting his nostrils, but his attention was entirely focused on the blue-silver grass on the ground. He carefully brushed the blue-silver grass with his hand, and immediately, a sense of closeness was transmitted from the blue-silver grass. Chen was greatly surprised by this. It really is the blue-silver grass. Is it because my blue-silver grass martial soul evolved, or because my mental force has strengthened? I can actually vaguely perceive the subtle emotions of the blue-silver grass. Chen felt both pleasantly surprised and confused, his brow furrowed and relaxed periodically. After some thought, Chen exhaled and said, "Regardless, this is a good thing. I've absorbed 3 spirit rings, and my blue-silver grass martial soul has undergone 3 rounds of evolution. It's much stronger than ordinary blue-silver grass now. Plus, when I was absorbing the spirit rings, it might have tempered my mental force to a certain extent. The combination of the two allows me to feel the emotions of the blue-silver grass. The blue-silver grass in the Stardew Great Forest is endless. With my vague connection to the blue-silver grass, finding a suitable spirit beast for myself will be much more convenient." Chen felt his spirits lift. Subsequently, while traveling, he began to communicate with the blue-silver grass by the roadside, soothing their emotions while inquiring about the surroundings. Plant spirit beasts were different from animal spirit beasts. Due to their physical structure, animal spirit beasts were more likely to develop intelligence, whereas plant spirit beasts were mostly driven by instinct. These roadside blue-silver grasses couldn't describe anything to Chen in detail. They lacked that level of intelligence, but they could still respond to Chen with some simple information, like safety or danger. Being able to obtain this information was enough to satisfy Chen. At least in the Stardew Great Forest, with these eyes and ears, he could judge danger in advance. Because the 4th spirit ring Chen wanted had to be at least between 10,000 and 15,000 years old, he had to search for such plant spirit beasts. Therefore, he had to leave the outer region and head towards the mixed zone of the Stardew Great Forest. The outer region was already so dangerous, and the mixed zone was packed with 10,000-year spirit beasts, doubling the level of danger. With these blue-silver grasses acting as his eyes and ears, even if Chen entered the mixed zone, he wouldn't accidentally stumble into the territory of some powerful spirit beast. It took 3 days. Only then did Lu Chen move from the outer region into the mixed zone. A vast, primordial aura rushed at him, carrying the dampness of soil and a faint scent of decay. To ensure his safety, Lu Chen immediately began communicating with the nearby blue-silver grass. Through their feedback, he gained a general idea of the situation in this area: danger. This was the unanimous emotion transmitted to him by the nearby blue-silver grass. Lu Chen instantly became alert. He summoned his blue-silver grass martial soul, and 3 purple spirit rings, purple, purple, and purple, rose from beneath his feet. Blue-silver protection. As the 3rd spirit ring lit up, his spirit power poured into his blue-silver grass martial soul, which then radiated light, propping up a blue barrier around him. This was Lu Chen's 3rd spirit ability, blue-silver protection. Lu Chen put a shield on himself before treading lightly to search the surroundings. Following the guidance of the blue-silver grass, he arrived at the source of that danger to investigate. He saw that, in this area, a layer of turf had been torn from the ground. Numerous flowers, grasses, vines, and thorns had all been shredded to pieces. Quite a few trees had been snapped in half. Since trees that required an adult's embrace to encircle could be snapped like that, one could imagine what kind of behemoth had caused such destruction. Not far ahead, Lu Chen saw a few bloody scraps of cloth, as well as some mangled flesh and shattered bones. Additionally, there was a glittering metal bracelet. A hint of curiosity appeared on Lu Chen's previously heavy face. He walked over, ignored the mangled flesh and shattered bones, and picked up the metal bracelet. It was a silver-white metal bracelet that felt heavy in his hand. The material was definitely extraordinary. 6 jade stones were embedded in the bracelet, each one extremely warm and smooth to the touch, clearly not common items. Lu Chen toyed with the metal bracelet in his hand as a bold guess rose in his mind. This couldn't be a storage spirit tool, could it? Lu Chen immediately began to test it, trying to inject a trace of spirit power into one of the jade stones on the metal bracelet. In the next instant, his consciousness seemed to be pulled into a narrow space. The space wasn't large, only about 2 cubic meters. He was right. This was indeed a storage spirit tool. If one jade stone had 2 cubic meters of space, and there were 6 jade stones embedded on this metal bracelet, then there was a total of 12 cubic meters of space. This wasn't small. A storage spirit tool with 12 cubic meters of space would fetch an astronomical price of at least several 100,000 gold coins at an auction house. And it was the kind where there was demand but no supply. Lu Chen quickly checked the entire space of the storage spirit tool. Inside were some scattered gold coins, silver coins, and bronze coins, as well as 2 black cards, some books, a change of clothes, a dagger, snake repellent powder, healing medicine. Lu Chen flipped through the books and found a red diary. Through the records in the diary, he learned that its owner was the clan chief of a certain spirit master family in the Gyule Kingdom. This time, he had come to the Star Du Great Forest and invited a few friends to help him hunt the spirit beast needed for his 6th spirit ring. As it stood, they had probably been completely wiped out. All that remained was some mangled flesh and bone and a metal storage spirit tool. Although he had gained a storage spirit tool for free, Lu Chen wasn't as happy as he had imagined. The scene before him served as another reminder that the Star Du Great Forest was fraught with danger. Once he let his guard down, his end would also be to die in the mouth of a beast. Putting the storage spirit tool on his hand, the metal bracelet automatically adjusted its size to fit his wrist perfectly, not feeling like a burden at all. Lu Chen naturally loved it. He then dug a hole in the ground, gathered the mangled flesh and bones, and buried them in the pit. Since he had taken someone's storage spirit tool, he should at least let them rest in peace. Afterward, Lu Chen quickly left the area. Chapter 24, 13,000-year pure heart Lotus time flew by, and it had already been half a month since Lu Chen arrived in the mixed zone of the Star Du Great Forest. During this period, by communicating with the blue-silver grass, Lu Chen had found several 10,000-year plant spirit beasts, such as some carnivorous flowers and some bloodthirsty thorns. These plant spirit beasts were very good. If he absorbed their spirit rings, they would certainly bring good control or attack abilities to his blue-silver grass martial soul. But this went against Lu Chen's original idea. He wanted his blue-silver grass martial soul to follow a support path from beginning to end. Now that he had healing, mana regeneration, and shielding spirit abilities, in his subsequent plans, he also needed detoxification spirit abilities, self-buffing spirit abilities, and even spirit abilities that could forcibly save him from the brink of death. All of this was in preparation for attaching spirit rings to his second spirit in the future. The spirit abilities he envisioned for his second spirit were all those with extremely terrifying power, ones that would kill or maim at the slightest touch, or even result in mutual destruction with the enemy. Therefore, when attaching spirit rings to the blue-silver grass, there was no need to add control or attack abilities. On this day, following the guidance of the blue-silver grass, Lu Chen arrived at a lake in the mixed zone. He hid behind a large tree and poked his head out to look at the lake, only to see a lotus flower with 7 colors in the center of the lake. The lotus was graceful and delicate, rising from the mud without being stained, clean and clear without being bewitching, shimmering with a glistening luster, and emitting a sanctity capable of purifying evil. Seeing that lotus, Lu Chen felt his mental force stir, and a gleam of joy flashed in his eyes. Pure heart lotus, it actually turns out to be this kind of spirit beast. This is a superplant spirit beast known for being able to purify all filth, darkness, and evil. Looking at the size and number of petals of this pure heart lotus, it has approximately 13,000 years of cultivation. The attributes fit, the age fits. This is the most suitable spirit beast to be my 4th spirit ring. Absorbing the spirit ring of the pure heart lotus will definitely bring me a powerful purification spirit ability. In the future, Tang San's strange poisons will certainly not be able to poison me. The moment Lu Chen saw the pure heart lotus, he decided to make it his 4th spirit ring. After making the decision, Lu Chen did not rush out but continued to hide in the dark to observe. About 10 minutes later, a crane cry came from the sky, followed by a giant white crane with a wingspan of over 8 meters and a body length of over 6 meters descending from the sky, landing precisely in the lake, a flowing tassel white crane. Seeing this spirit beast, Lu Chen felt secretly fortunate. Fortunately, he hadn't rushed out, otherwise, he would have definitely ended up fighting the flowing tassel white crane. Looking at the size of this flowing tassel white crane, its cultivation was at least over 15,000 years. The opponent was a spirit beast extremely skilled in speed, and it also held the advantage of flight. Lu Chen felt that if he were to fight the flowing tassel white crane, it wouldn't just be a simple case of not being able to win. With the opponent's terrifying speed, he probably wouldn't even be able to run away. While at the academy, Lu Chen had heard from Xiao Wu about the flowing tassel white crane. It was a spirit beast with a cleanliness obsession, liking things clean and hating filth. The pure heart lotus could purify all filth, darkness, and evil, so the water quality of this lake with the pure heart lotus must be the cleanest within 1,000 miles. So it was not strange at all that it could attract the flowing tassel white crane. Seeing this stainless, pure white spirit beast, Lu Chen suppressed the restlessness in his heart, and using the surrounding patches of blue-silver grass, exerted his full effort to conceal his aura. He wanted to hunt the pure heart lotus as his 4th spirit ring, but he didn't want to have a direct conflict with the flowing tassel white crane at all. Therefore, he could only wait, and this wait lasted for 5 whole days. During these 5 days, Lu Chen observed the habits of the flowing tassel white crane with great patience. When it went out to hunt, and when it returned to play in the water, Lu Chen remembered everything clearly. After making full preparations, when the flowing tassel white crane went out to hunt on the 6th day, Lu Chen rushed out without hesitation. Burst step. Lu Chen rushed to the lakeside and used the burst step ability, stepping heavily on the ground to leave a deep footprint, and with the help of the rebound force, he leaped directly into midair. Like an eagle swooping for prey, Lu Chen pounced toward the pure heart lotus. The pure heart lotus instinctively sensed something was wrong, and its flower bud bloomed, spraying out a beam of pure white light. Facing this pure white light, Chen did not dodge or avoid it. The purification ability of the Pure Heart Lotus targeted filth, evil spirits, and darkness. Chen was currently using pure physical strength and was not afraid of purification at all. Sure enough, the pure white light fell on Chen and did not cause him any harm at all. Chen smiled happily at this. The Pure Heart Lotus itself had no offensive capabilities. Cannon Fist. Rushing out from the pure white light, Chen swung his fist at the Pure Heart Lotus. His massive spirit power was channeled into his fist, and after high compression, it emitted an awe-inspiring momentum boom. Chen punched the flower bud of the Pure Heart Lotus, releasing a terrifying energy shockwave, and the seven-colored flower bud was instantly smashed. Broken petals scattered on the water surface. Chen also fell into the water with a splash. He raised his right hand and summoned his second spirit, the Black Iron Scythe. A steady stream of spirit power was poured into it, causing the Black Iron Scythe to flash with a chilling cold light. Chen held the Black Iron Scythe in his right hand, while holding the broken flower bud with his left, and swung the Black Iron Scythe to cut off its roots as well. Once the roots were severed, this 13,000-year-old Pure Heart Lotus completely lost its life, and strands of black light were released, transforming after a few changes into a black spirit ring. Black and bright, black and profound, black as if it could swallow everything. This was a true 10,000-year spirit ring. Chen felt his breathing quicken slightly. Holding the body of the Pure Heart Lotus in his arms, he swam quickly to the shore. Without any hesitation, Chen ran toward the depths of the forest. Once the flowing tassel white crane returned and found the Pure Heart Lotus gone, it would definitely go crazy. It would never have a clean lake to play in again. About 40 minutes later, Chen was panting, having run at least dozens of miles away. Now the flowing tassel white crane shouldn't be able to find him easily. Chen spent some more time finding a crack in a cliff, squeezed himself in, and barely managed to fit. Twisting his body, Chen sat on the ground with difficulty, looked at the Pure Heart Lotus body he had brought back, gritted his teeth and said, "The spirit beast has already been killed. If I don't absorb the spirit ring now, it will be a complete waste." Moreover, compared to animal spirit beasts, plant spirit beasts are harder to develop intelligence, and their souls are correspondingly weaker. The soul shock shouldn't be very strong. After making up his mind, Chen closed his eyes, operated his meditation method, communicated with his blue-silver grass martial soul, and began to absorb the black spirit ring of the Pure Heart Lotus. The pitch-black spirit ring drifted over slowly, settled onto the blue-silver grass martial soul, and quickly shrank as it merged into it. A wave of incomparably holy spirit power, filled with the aura of life, rapidly swept out, filling his blue-silver grass martial soul. His blue-silver grass martial soul underwent a visible, massive change, beginning its fourth round of evolution. After more than an hour of long absorption, although there were some twists and turns in the process, Chen finally succeeded in absorbing it. Chen slowly opened his eyes and said in a deep voice with some lingering fear, "This is soul shock. It really is hard to deal with. Fortunately, the spirit ring I absorbed was from a plant spirit beast, so the soul shock was not particularly strong. Moreover, my mental force had also been strengthened to a certain extent during the previous 3 spirit ring absorptions, which is why I was able to absorb a 10,000-year spirit ring in one go. The price is huge, but the harvest is gratifying. My 4th spirit ability, Blue-Silver Baptism, can dispel all abnormal statuses, including poisoning, disease, curses, and the erosion of various elemental powers. This is simply perfect. As for my spirit power, it has also reached level 50, and I can go look for my 5th spirit ring. The vast spirit power sleeping in my body has also gradually been liberated by more than half, and my true spirit power should be revealed soon. Chapter 25. 25,000-year demon spirit tree. After regaining consciousness, Chen checked his body from head to toe and discovered that, after absorbing his 4th spirit ring, Nourished by this 10,000-year spirit ring, his physique had strengthened further. He clenched his fist tightly and felt an inexhaustible amount of strength within his body. At the same time, his mental force had also been tempered. With the aid of his blue-silver grass martial soul, he could communicate with the surrounding blue-silver grass over a wider range. In the past, he could at most communicate with blue-silver grass within a range of 200 to 300 meters. But now, he could already communicate with blue-silver grass within a range of 2 to 3 kilometers. Whether it was searching for suitable spirit beasts or avoiding potential dangers in advance, this ability could play a greater role. Chen smiled with satisfaction at this. Afterwards, he began to examine the torso of the pure heart Lotus, splitting it in two, cutting the whole thing in half and looking it over carefully. Finally, he sighed disappointedly. No spirit bone. Thinking about it, that is normal. Spirit bones are rare and hard to come by. Even if the pure heart Lotus is a 10,000-year spirit beast, the chance of it producing a spirit bone is less than 1 in 10,000. I have already obtained a suitable spirit ring. I shouldn't be greedy and hope the pure heart Lotus could also produce a spirit bone. One should be content. Putting down the broken body of the pure heart Lotus, Chen wiggled his body and squeezed out of the rock crevice, coming outside to breathe in some fresh air. Chen adjusted his mindset, rubbed his stomach, and said, "Time to get something to eat to celebrate obtaining my 10,000-year 4th spirit ring, and then it is time to set off to find my 5th spirit ring." Half a month later. Somewhere in the mixed zone of the Star-Du Great Forest, Chen swung the black iron scythe in his hand, hacking away the vines and thorns blocking his path. While struggling forward in the forest, he communicated with the surrounding blue-silver grass. "You are saying there is an evil big guy ahead, very terrifying, that eats spirit beasts and I should be careful." I understand. In any case, as long as that evil big guy is a plant-type spirit beast, that is fine. I am just going to take a look from afar. I will not provoke it on my own. Through communicating with the surrounding blue-silver grass, Chen knew that not far ahead, there was a plant-type spirit beast that ate animal-type spirit beasts. It was a very evil big guy, extremely dangerous. These blue-silver grasses had limited intelligence, and found it difficult to describe the specific situation of that plant-type spirit beast. But since it was a plant-type spirit beast, Chen still decided to go take a look. After half an hour of traveling, Chen arrived at the territory of that plant-type spirit beast. The moment he stepped in here, Chen felt a chill. It was very strange. Clearly, the sun was still hanging in the sky, yet it was unreasonably cold here. Chen looked at the surrounding soil, which presented a dark red color and gave off a rich, foul stench. The plants growing on this land were a bit too lush compared to plants in other places. But Chen always felt that these vigorously growing plants exuded a sense of evil that made one feel uneasy from the bottom of their heart. 3rd spirit ability, blue-silver protection. Chen was very vigilant, and the moment he felt uneasy, he summoned his blue-silver grass martial soul. He saw a stalk of blue-silver grass, glowing with a golden halo and exuding a holy aura growing and circling around him, and at his feet, the purple, black spirit ring configuration, which was extremely shocking to the heart, rose up from under his feet. His 3rd spirit ring suddenly lit up. After he poured his spirit power into the blue-silver grass martial soul, the blue-silver grass martial soul bloomed with light, propping up a blue barrier around his body. With this energy shield, Chen felt slightly at ease and then slowly continued to walk forward. After walking less than 100 steps, Chen saw the true face of that plant-type spirit beast. It was a towering giant tree reaching 25 meters in height, with lush branches and leaves. From the branches to the leaves, everything presented a dark red color. Looking from afar, that huge dark red canopy looked just like a heart, exuding evil. Chen widened his eyes in surprise. Demon spirit tree, it really is just as the blue-silver grasses said, this is an evil big guy. The demon spirit tree produces demon spirit fruits. This kind of fruit has an exotic fragrance and will attract animal-type spirit beasts to eat it. Animal-type spirit beasts that eat the demon spirit fruit will have their potential stimulated by the demon spirit fruit, and their strength will directly increase exponentially. But correspondingly, the animal-type spirit beasts that eat the demon spirit fruit will also have their inner killing instincts stimulated. Those animal-type spirit beasts with stimulated killing instincts will constantly kill each other. The spirit beast that survives to the end still has a chance to leave. The other spirit beasts that die will become the blood food for the demon spirit tree. The demon spirit tree devours the flesh and blood of these spirit beasts, obtains their life essence, turns it into its own nutritional fertilizer, makes itself grow vigorously, and produces more demon spirit fruits the following year. Chen showed a look of hesitation, thinking about whether to hunt the demon spirit tree to serve as his fifth spirit ring. Judging from its cultivation, this 25-meter-tall demon spirit tree had a cultivation of at least over 25,000 years. As his fifth spirit ring, it was undoubtedly very suitable. However, the evil nature of the demon spirit tree did not quite fit the direction of the spirit rings he had previously absorbed. Therefore, Chen was very hesitant. After a long while, he made up his mind and thought, although this demon spirit tree is evil, that is because it constantly devours the flesh and blood of spirit beasts. The demon spirit fruit of this demon spirit tree is an excellent ability that can stimulate potential within the body and allow a spirit beast's strength to increase exponentially. Isn't this exactly what I want? A skill that can amplify strength. The powerful inclusivity of blue-silver grass is enough to a certain extent, neutralize the evil nature of the demon spirit tree. And the best part is that my fourth spirit ring ability, blue-silver baptism, does not originally have any attack capability, but it is extremely effective against evil spirit beasts like the demon spirit tree, giving me the opportunity to calmly defeat it. If it were another 10,000-year plant-type spirit beast with different attributes, with just my meager means, I might not necessarily be able to defeat them. Having comprehensively considered all aspects, Chen finally decided to hunt the demon spirit tree and let it serve as his fifth spirit ring. Chen raised his hand and pointed at the demon spirit tree in front. Go. The next instant, under Chen's control, his blue-silver grass martial soul began to grow rapidly. Thick branches, like snakes and pythons, traveled forward, surrounding the demon spirit tree. Chen's blue-silver grass exuded a holy aura from its entire body, which made the inherently evil demon spirit tree gradually feel a bit uneasy. Rustle, rustle. The demon spirit tree reacted instantly. One after another, thick root systems broke through the ground. On those roots, one could see dense barbs, making one's scalp tingle. Hanging on those barbs were the withered bones of various spirit beasts. Having grown to 25,000 years, in its lifetime, the demon spirit tree did not know how many spirit beasts it had eaten. These withered bones were only a very small part of them. Those root systems growing barbs quickly entangled with Chen's blue-silver grass, tightly wrapping around each other. Chen's blue-silver grass suffered a small loss. The root systems of the demon spirit tree, carrying dense barbs, pierced the surface of Chen's blue-silver grass and began to devour Chen's spirit power. Noticing this situation, Chen immediately responded. Fourth spirit ability, blue-silver baptism. As his voice fell, his fourth black spirit ring lit up with dazzling light, emitting a terrifying fluctuation that made people feel oppressed. Chen's spirit power was like floodwater from an open sluice, continuously pouring into the blue-silver grass martial soul. His blue-silver grass martial soul, from branches to leaves, bloomed with shining blue light, wholly pure bright. Ah, in Chen's ears, it seemed as if a faint, ethereal scream came. Those demon spirit tree roots that were originally still showing off their ferocity, under the illumination of that blue light, unexpectedly trembled violently one after another. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Strands of eerie, evil, black tinged with red chi volatilized from the root systems of the demon spirit tree. That was the combination of resentment, evil chi, blood chi, death chi, and other evil and filthy Kai. Under Liu Chen's blue-silver baptism, it was practically meeting its nemesis, with absolutely no power to resist. Seeing this, Liu Chen was overjoyed and controlled more blue-silver grass branches to surround the demon's spirit tree, layer upon layer. Relying on the purifying power of blue-silver baptism to suppress the power origin of the demon spirit tree, without those resentment, evil Kai, blood Kai, death Kai. The demon spirit tree no longer had the ability to show off its ferocity, completely collapsed and fell into a weakened state. We've already crossed halfway to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and enjoying these novel audiobooks. Every subscribe, like, comment, and share helps us grow faster and bring you even more epic stories. If you love revenge stories, Overpowered MC's rebirth and system novels, fantasy adventures, and Cultivation World's long, immersive audiobook uploads, then subscribe and join the journey to 1K subscribers. We're more than halfway there. Let's hit this milestone together.